MVP, though, which I think has drawn the ire of both he and his father. We've got that to discuss. 2 new big U of L football commits, including one who was formerly a Kentucky football commit. We've got that to discuss. Team USA falls last night in the Gold Cup final. We've got that to discuss. Roman and I played golf. We've got that to discuss. All sorts of things to discuss, and we want to discuss it with you on the Game Day Men's Health text line, which is 502-414-1450. Hit us up there throughout the course of today's show, and we will be reading your thoughts and responding to them. Before we get to any of this good stuff, though, we say hi to our guy, the man, the myth, the legend. You hear him from 2 to 2:30. You hear him from 5:30 to 6. He is Roman Kelly. Give him a follow on Twitter, @RomyBean. Roman, how are you, buddy?
Doing great, Mike. Excited to be in. Excited to talk all things Louisville Cardinals recruitment commitments with you in our 4th of July weekend extravaganzas. Is that a word?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Ganzai?
Ganzai. Extravaganzai as well. I'm feeling good.
I'm feeling good, too.
I'm still mad at you.
I know.
But I can only be mad at myself.
I mean, I just used the picture for the show tweet again, too, of you hitting 6 feet behind the ball on the last hole.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. Before we get into that, how was the rest of your weekend? But I feel like I haven't talked to you the last couple of days. How did the 4th end up going? How was your extra Saturday and Sunday? How are you doing?
It was good. It was weird to be off work that much.
I know.
Not normal for me, but, got the car all worked out. Car's back on the road, driving it today. So
there we go.
Yep, that feels good. Didn't get into a whole lot because I was finishing all that stuff. But pretty uneventful weekend. Friday and Saturday, I didn't do much. Shot some fireworks that we were able to acquire, like you said, from Powder Keg Fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
And I played golf, but I played golf on Thursday, and I played rode dirt bikes yesterday. So those were felt like the fun days for me, and it was just car stuff on Friday and Saturday.
Just all car stuff?
Yeah, man. A lot of hanging out with Dad, waiting for car stuff.
So is this done now? Is the pilot good to go? That's a no right there.
Yeah,
that's a no right there. The stuttering, the stopping. This whole saga's not done yet.
It's driving. I mean, I got it aligned. I got all my new parts on, but I've got more things that I personally have to do that are going to make it perfect again. It's just technically there's 2 more things I've got to do.
Oh God!
All of the stuff that kept it off the road and kept it from driving and made it, and it wasn't safe. It's fully back safe again. That's
I don't know that it is.
Well, I mean, all the things that weren't that broke, they all broke right at the same time, and the stuff that needs to be done now was stuff that needed to be done 6 months ago. I needed a power steering pump 6 months ago. The window thing, I feel like I'm embarrassed at how long I've had the window thing happening.
That's all right. Well,
those things don't keep me off the road, though.
I feel like we're still gonna be talking about it. We're gonna be previewing the Clemson football game, and Roman's gonna be like, "Yeah, just a little more car work today. Heading home after the game, gonna watch the game, and then got some more stuff in the car on Saturday." I feel like this is gonna be an ongoing saga.
Everything should be done here in the next week.
Okay.
It's driving. The things that need to be done now, I might wait another 6 months. Is what I'm getting at.
All right. So good weekend overall.
Great weekend.
That's all I want to hear. We'll talk about the golf game in a second. But we started last week, right? With Virginia had her surgeries on her thumbs, which it went well. She's doing well, but she can't swim for 10 days. Is the big thing. And, it's summer. It's extremely hot out there. So we've had to come up with different ways to, keep the kids entertained, especially on 4th of July weekend without the pool. So it was just, kids' activities constantly. We play golf Thursday, and then I get out, and then we got stuff going on with the kids there. I don't even remember what we did after I know we did something on Thursday. I mean, Thursday feels like it was a million years ago at this point, which is kind of crazy. Oh, I took John to get a haircut. That was great. Right after I get done with golfing. John, who's furious, hates haircuts, but did well. Watched Monsters, Inc., looked pissed off the entire time. Got his haircut, though. He was styling for 4th of July weekend. And then we set off a couple of... So, let's recap real quickly. So, we're doing the show Wednesday at Powder Keg Fireworks in Jeffersonville. And they come to us at the end of the show, the guy who owns the place. And he's like... you guys get like $1,000 worth of fireworks. And we were like, oh, okay. Like, this is the trade-off for us doing the show out there. We had no idea that this was happening. So we go in. I text the KRC boys. I'm like, you guys want me to get you some fireworks? We're getting a bunch of fireworks. TJ's like, sure. So grab some for TJ. Grab some. I'm like, we both said on the show, like, we're not big firework guys. We enjoy fireworks as much as the next person, but it's not like we never have like a gigantic urge to like just be like the crazy firework person on 4th of July. But we go in there and we like load up. And then that night, like, you get a text from somebody who works here. It's like, hey, did you bring the fireworks to the station? And you're like, no. And they were supposed to be for somebody else, apparently, which we did not know.
Well, apparently it's like that was already established and known, and this was our half. He was telling us that this was, what he was telling us was ours was apparently half of the deal.
Oh, okay. So we were supposed to get something.
That was the talent side of the deal, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
And not the salesman side of the deal.
So we didn't steal fireworks.
No. There was no communication about that directly with us.
Right. We were told nothing about this. All we know is the guy that comes out who owns the place and is like, you guys get $1,000 worth of fireworks. And so we went inside and we got $1,000 worth of fireworks, which was great. I drove some, dropped some off at TJ's house. So let me ask you before I get into my part. Did you end up using the fireworks? I know you were kind of talking about maybe you would give them to some friends or you would do something.
Like, yeah, I used some of them.
What'd you end up doing with them?
We let off a good amount of them. I gave a couple to my mom and her friend.
Okay.
Sold a little bit of them, bartered. So
yeah,
what you do.
So the fireworks were legit. Like, I don't know which ones you set off and which ones you didn't, but this was like heavy duty fireworks.
Real deal fireworks.
Real deal fireworks. So yeah, I mean, like, I texted TJ in like the middle of the night on 4th of July. I was like, okay, so these are pretty legit. And he's like, we end up entertaining half the neighborhood over here. So we set off a couple of like with Thursday night on the 3rd. I was like, well, we'll set up. I've got like a crap ton of fireworks. Let's just go ahead and set off a couple and just see what we're working with here. And then we'll have the big show on the 4th of July. So I grabbed a couple of like the little fountain ones, right? I think it was one that it was shaped like it was Kevin from Minions.
Okay.
And I'm like, we'll set off Kevin. And I watched a video just to make sure it was not going to be like too big and we're going to be okay of like somebody else setting off Kevin. And it's just like it's a solid, just like a flare of sparklers like popping out. I'm like, all right, well that's no big deal. This will be fun. Like a nice little like foot in the water, toe in the water for the kids to get used to the fireworks for the weekend. I didn't watch the whole video. Watched like 30 seconds. I was like, all right, I got the gist. So we set off Kevin in like our little backyard area. We have like we've got like the covered back porch, and then we have like a patio area. So I go over to the patio area. It's perfect, like level concrete, no risk, like nothing terrible over there. Just had to like move the little table we have out of the way, and we're standing like relatively close to Kevin. Like Kevin, he's sparking. I'm like, all right, this is cool. I did not realize that at the end, Kevin just like goes berserk. Where it's like starts shooting like sparks everywhere, like blowing up, different colors. I mean, like we all like shooting fire. My wife is taking a video, and we're like Kevin, like get it, Kevin, and then like you would have thought that it was like a bomb had been dropped from somewhere. Like Kevin just goes nuts. The kids are screaming. John's crying. We're all sprinting back to like take cover. I think I did the exact opposite of what my intention was. And just wound up traumatizing both my kids for fireworks for the rest of the weekend. Like John's like, I don't like Kevin, and like just like flipping out. And it was because I told them that it was just going to be like a standard sparkler, like a standard fountain. And so that was bad. That didn't go great. Did not set a good tone for the rest of the weekend. But it also like I did my research. I like went and looked at the other fireworks we had. I figured out which ones were big, which ones were bad. Watched a lot of YouTube videos. It like made Virginia way more excited. I don't know if she has a little bit of like a Roman pyro gene in her, but she was like, all she could talk about the next day was just like the fireworks. She was so excited. She's like, can we get another Kevin? I'm like, we've got stuff that's better than Kevin. So we end up having like a handful of people over. Not like a big shindig, but just like, come on over, hang out. Mary took the kids to the science center during the day.
That was like a come on over, I guess.
No. It was... I'm not trying to like blow it up and like we weren't gonna have like a gigantic shindig, but we were like, we got these fireworks, like let's have some people over. So we did the Indian Hills Parade in the morning, which was a little bit underwhelming, if I'm honest. It's super hot, not very long, but the kids wanted to ride their bikes and their trikes in the parade. So we did that. Saw some people, had a good time. And then Mary took the kids to the Science Center. I put some tables together that we've been putting off, cleaned the house a little bit, watched the Reds beat the Phillies, which was lovely, and then put on the show of a lifetime for the neighborhood in the backyard. I mean, some of these fireworks were like insane, like full on like what you would see if you went to like a country club fireworks show or like whatever. I was not prepared for this at all, but it was awesome. And like I said, I'm texting TJ midway through, and I'm like, these are pretty cool. The kids, though, I mean, Virginia loved it. She went to like the little playhouse area we have in our backyard, and her and a couple of the other kids that we had over were like watching from up there. John refused to stay outside after the first couple. He like watched from inside the living room. I was like, come on, man. My niece Audrey like also was like, she was a little bit scared. So we successfully terrified the children, but we entertained the adults, which was all we were going for. I'd never been like the firework dad before. And now I definitely see the appeal of it, Roman. Like, I get the allure. There's a certain rush that comes with putting yourself in danger, being the man who goes out there and, lights the fuse and then cowardly runs away as fast as he can and then watches the gigantic boom. There's a rush.
There is. I felt it.
I feel like this. Now I feel like we're going to be like a firework family. Like next year, I'm going to go back, even if we don't have a deal with Powder Keg.
I was about to say,
I'm going to go over there and just like load up.
If I could acquire the grade of fireworks we had in a way, or we did every year, then maybe.
Yeah.
I would not buy fireworks to get that feeling, though.
I might be that guy now. Because like, by the end, like I'm sort of like I'm lighting like 4 at a time. I'm getting the nerve up. I'm getting it down, getting the rhythm down. And I'm just feeling like I'm feeling the juices flowing. I was loving it. The patriotism just flowing throughout my body. Which was awesome. But it was a fantastic 4th of July. We ended up having a great time. I went some other places. There's like a hidden gem, and I'm not doing this, like there's no like, they're not sponsoring anything. We need more indoor playgrounds in Louisville. It's one of those crazy things where you go to other cities, like my buddy in Dallas, he's like, we have one like every corner. And we don't have any. There's one at the Mall St. Matthews, though. Animal World. We went there yesterday. It's fantastic. Like indoor playground. Kids like played for 3 hours. Big slides, ball pits, all this stuff. And go now. These places they get a little bit dirty once they start getting used. It's relatively new. Make it out there while you can. And then we went to the mall, drove our animals around. Just anything we could do to wear the kids out this weekend is basically what we did. But it was a great time. We had a fantastic overall weekend. Enjoyed all of the activities, enjoyed a lot of good sports to talk about. But we do have to, I think people they want to hear us talk about the golf game on Thursday. So we played golf. You, me, Will Wigington, who's been on the show several times, friend of the program. We go out there at Crescent Hill. I could not have been more excited, Roman, by the way, to play Crescent Hill again. It had been, and this is where I learned the game. There was a period in my life in 7th, 8th grade where I feel like I played Crescent Hill probably once a week. And in the summer, we would just go up there all the time. So I know those 9 holes still like the back of my hand. And people were like, how's the course? I'm like, what do you want me to say? It's pristine. Very patchy tee boxes. The greens are basically like putting on an extended fringe. It's everything that I remembered it to be. It's wonderful. You've got a par 4 on hole 3 that's barely longer than the par 3 on the next hole, which is the hole 4, that really long par 3. The one thing, though, that's changed is they've got tee times now. Like, when you texted me and you were like, we've got a 10:57 tee time. I was like, what's a tee time? It's Crescent Hill. You go up there, you put your ball in the little ball rack, and you putt on the putting green, and then you spend 30 minutes watching everybody else hit their tee shots. You have it's why it's the toughest shot in golf, that first tee shot on Crescent Hill, because you've got 35 people waiting to go, and they're watching you to see how fast you're going to play. But with the tee times, there was nobody up there when we were hitting. Zero pressure whatsoever. So I loved getting back out there. It was a lot of fun to play that 9. Now, your quest, you've made this known throughout the summer. You want to break 100 this summer on 18 holes.
Yes. I need to probably figure out what the last official day of summer is.
I think, you have, if you're doing the official, it's probably early September, mid-September?
Like that first week.
Probably somewhere around there.
Not a lot of time.
Give me your own critique of your current game. You played your first like solo 9.
Yeah.
How do you think it went?
Not great at all. It was bad. What's tough to process about why it was bad is that it was like it did not start off bad at all. Like
You had a standard bogey at one point.
the whole 3 it was a par 5 and it took me 6 shots. You know, I was 6 shots on a par 5. It's not bad, right?
Not bad.
If I do that all throughout the game, that's quite under a 70. You know, I think that's pretty good golf there if I could do. And I feel like I had a lot of shots that were the good shots, a lot of shots that were good contact, and I just wasn't aiming right. Used the wrong club a couple times and had a good shot, and then it wouldn't go far enough, or had an okay shot with the wrong club, and it was not nearly as far as I wanted it to be. But watching my drive, with every passing drive, felt like get worse and worse. Like the first one and how it felt and my confidence in it, all the way compared to like that 6th or 7th drive, just like once you're a little bit hot and tired, Mike, I did not prepare for the heat and getting a little bit tired to impact my confidence.
You think you wore down? You think that was a big issue?
The physical wear down impacted me mentally. I wasn't prepared for that because I wasn't like tired. You know, it's not like I'm huffing and puffing out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your arms and hands are sweating and you're hot, and it's harder to think about everything that goes into your swing if you're still someone in my position who has to think about all those things still, because obviously it's nowhere near second nature. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like I had a terrible game, but I had a lot of shots where, like, if I could just consistently shoot like that throughout this, I'd be feeling a lot better about what I'm doing right now.
That's golf. That's how it gets you. But every now and then you will hit, like, the one good shot, and that just brings you back. Because it gives you this false sense of, like, I could do this every time. Now, you did beat Will Wickington. I feel pretty confident in saying.
No, not statistically. I mean, he had a 68.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I stopped keeping his score.
Before the last hole, I mean, if I would have just done something, if I would have got an 8 on that last par 5 instead of 11.
You did get an 11. Now, that's also not a par 5.
Or par 4. If that would have gotten a 7 or an 8 there, like my regular par 4, par 5 kind of score, I wouldn't have, we would have tied or something, you know? I think I would have beat him by 1 stroke.
Now, you guys both did whiff multiple times. So,
I didn't whiff the driver multiple times, though.
You whiffed other shots multiple times.
That's okay.
So I don't know exactly how professional the scorekeeping was for either one of you guys.
If you don't hit the ball, it's not a shot, right?
Well, you know, technically, are we talking PGA rules here or just Crescent Hill rules?
We're talking
Crescent Hill rules. You can just do whatever you want. You guys also, your refusal to take gimmies. I mean, you both missed, I think, putts from less than a foot in. And you were like, well, it could have been a 6. I got a 7 now. I was like, just take the gimme.
I don't want the gimme.
You need to take the gimme because you're missing 7-inch putts.
That's okay.
It's not okay.
You got to learn, Mike. You got to get better. You got to miss those putts. Part of it.
It is. Now, so you shot a 70 on 9.
Yeah.
Will shot a 68. What do we think? I mean, what's the confidence level now moving forward?
100% confidence.
100% confidence that we're going to eventually get below you're trying to break 100, right? Or
yeah.
90, whichever one it is.
100 before the summer.
Okay. What's the plan of attack moving forward? Are we get like range sessions? Do we want to get back out there and try another 9 after a show one time?
Oh yeah, Mike. I'm trying to go to the range like 3 times a week. That's what I was doing before.
Okay.
I think I don't view this as an excuse. I'm not trying to sound like this is an excuse at all. But
okay.
Like, I had gone to the range like just too many times in a row leading up until that 9,
mm-hmm.
and like I went into that with extremely sore fingers from just I clearly have some speed issues in my swing, which lead to some grip issues in my swing, and like I leave the range after a $10 basket, like just the 40 balls or whatever that is, and like my hands are throbbing.
Oh, it's part of the deal. Yeah, I got the athletic tape. I blister easily.
I do that 2 or 3 times. I did that like twice leading up to our 9. So I think that I just, as soon as I, halfway through, my hands are now throbbing, which I tried to.
Your hands were overworked.
Hands were overworked. So try not to overwork my hands before I shoot a 9, but consistently go to the range and stop trying to treat my driver like a iron.
Yeah, I mean, you did at one point. I think you also tried to hit driver on the uphill par 3, which I thought was an error in judgment. if I'm being honest. It's a 130-yard shot. You busted out the driver, and you still felt confident that you were making the right club choice. I think also, I know you want to focus on like long irons and drive, and we've got work to do there. The one thing that will really help you score well is to a little bit of work with the chipping.
Yeah, I had some. That was another bad thing. Like I was like 1 or 2 shots over where I should have been.
Yeah,
I got to be like a couple, 3 shots to get near the green.
A lot of chips over the green. A lot of just like we're 10 feet away and we're swinging as hard as we can.
Or I was 10 feet away and I chipped it 2 feet.
Well, that too.
Or that would be like the next shot. I would chip it 10 feet over and then go try to overcorrect and chip it 3 feet away.
Yeah.
At that point, I should just putt from the rough.
Yeah. I think I'll say this. The swing overall, like, it's a lot better than from where we started last year at the Big X Scramble. When I started
remember those first couple of drives?
I mean, yeah, they were a little right.
But I'm saying the contact
was good. The contact was good.
I did lose the one.
That's okay.
It went far, though.
That's okay. I think that we can. I think there's room to work here. I think there are places to build. It's not a lost cause. And this was your first 9 ever playing your
official,
own ball.
Yeah. Second time on a course.
Right, but you guys were scrambling.
Yeah.
At that point, I think maybe we can get some more scrambles in there. That would help a little bit. Just reps. We got better on Thursday. It may not have felt like it to you, but I want to keep your spirits high.
Wait, what?
I think you got better on Thursday.
Oh, I mean, I think I learned a couple of things.
You can't have. I mean, you
I think right by the end there, I was consistently doing the same things with my irons up until that very last hole. But every drive shot looked different. That's not, that's not a good thing on your mental there. When your 4th, 5th drive is like, okay, what do I need to do? Because you tried to tweak 3 different things in 3 different drives in a row, and now everything's messed up. That's just not good.
So you weren't thrilled about me posting the video of you whiffing?
No, I just wasn't thrilled that, because I was like, it's just to know that there was so many other shots that also weren't good, but I felt like the swing was,
That's the one that I videoed.
Yeah, it's just like, geez, that was the one time you pulled the camera out.
It's a motivational tool for you.
I hit a whiff here.
It's a motivational tool.
Couldn't have even been a top. It had to be a whiff,
I do have a top of you right after that. But you were like so pissed that you just like didn't. I think by that point you were just kind of done.
Yeah.
We finished with a fizzle. It's okay. We got sports to talk about. We'll get into the Mike Carl Brown discussion after the break. Little football recruiting nuggets as well. Keep it locked right here. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, rolling on next here on 1450 and 96.1. The Big X.
John Spears for M&M Cartage. You see those trucks riding down the road with the
MB. 3 o'clock hour here, the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. United Mechanical, they are Louisville's MVP for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration needs. Give them a call any hour, any day at 502-339-1133. Today's, another mile marker of the summer. Used to always be a thing. Now it's back to being a thing. The release of the new college football video game from EA Sports, College Football 2026. Roman, I know you played last year. Are you going to get the game? Have you gotten the game?
I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm going to get it.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
You don't sound like it.
I just haven't looked into a lot of the stuff that people. I haven't done my dig yet. Like, I haven't watched the videos or anything like that and looked at the players that I'm expected to be good and stuff like that. I haven't gotten myself excited about it yet.
Matt McGatherk is out there posting like clips of his games like 5 seconds after it broke. I feel like Matt posts like 100 stories a day. Guy works his absolute ass off. I feel like suddenly the Louisville Report content's going to go dramatically down over the next couple of weeks. Like all of a sudden he's going to start missing these commitment write-ups and like, what's happened with Matt? Oh, he's played his 17th season of College Football 2026. But if you are a big-time gamer, you're excited about the game, happy release day. Once again, it's a mile marker of the summer. We got to College Football release day. Hopefully that will, for some people, bridge the gap between now and the first week of the season coming up in about 7 weeks. Right around the corner, Roman. Just a couple days away. A couple weeks away.
Just a couple weeks.
A few weeks away. It's right there. Also helping us bridge the gap this summer has been watching Louisville freshman Michael Brown Jr. compete in the FIBA Under-19 World Cup, which unfortunately came to a close over the weekend. Fortunately, though, featured Team USA winning the gold medal, knocking down a tough Germany team to capture the gold. Michael was fantastic once again. He led the team in scoring. He led the team in assists. He led the team in efficiency. He led the team in plus-minus. He led the team in minutes played. He somehow did not win the most valuable player award for the tournament, which went to A.J. DeBanza. Before we get into the good, because we have to complain a little bit about this. I don't want to make it a gigantic deal, but it did feel ridiculous that DeBanza won the MVP. It did feel sort of like a reputation win. DeBanza came in as the most well-known player on this team.
It's like he won it for some dunks, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, he still is projected to be the top draft pick from this team, and it was just like, let's give it to this guy because he's the most well-known player. It didn't seem to make a lot of sense.
He caught a few lobs. Whoop-de-doo.
I mean, do you think that's it? Do you think his highlight plays were just a little bit better than Michael's? Is that why he got the award?
Well, statistically, he wasn't. He's like the third best player statistically.
He wasn't even the second best player on the team.
Like, I just don't know what you're looking at here, other than being like, is it just the guy that put all the eyes on the game? Is that why you gave it to him? I don't know. I just feels like because he was good and he did have a handful. We pretty much had a couple highlights every game, I'd say.
Sure.
He wasn't like he had one game like that. I feel certain he was the best player in. I don't know. This feels like Michael was arguably the best player in nearly every game, other than like one. Yeah, exact opposite. So
the first game of the knockout stage where Michael barely played, which I think DeBanza played the same amount of minutes as he did. That was it. Besides that, it seemed like Michael was the best player for Team USA every single time out.
I just don't get that. But I get it. He's the name. He's the reason that a lot of eyes were on it in the national sense. College basketball fans, right, trying to see what these top couple of guys look like, especially DeBanza in particular. I just feel like there's nothing statistically he did warranted over it. I'm not even trying to I'm just trying to go about how you would give MVPs out in more times than not in these kind of setups.
Mm-hmm.
Typically to the guy who's contributing the most to wins statistically, and or quite literally has the most moments that were solidified a win, and or right. So I don't understand it, but I think everybody on that court knows who is one of the best players, if not the best player out there. If you didn't know about Michael, you know about him now if you watched it. So he did everything he needed to, Mike.
He did, and you said, if you were watching the games, the drop off from when he was on the floor to when he was off the floor, well, you don't have to be a basketball Benny to recognize that. Like, Team USA got so much worse whenever he wasn't out there running the show, and
a lot more threes, not a lot of the ball getting to the rim.
Not a lot of dribble penetration, not a lot of other guys on that team that were consistently getting to the basket. Against the better teams, that they played in that tournament. I mean, he was huge in what was their toughest test of the tournament, which was the quarterfinal game against Canada. He played out of his mind. He was fantastic. During the most critical stretches of that game, he stepped up and made play after play after play. And, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a summer award. No one's going to remember in a couple of years who was the MVP of the FIBA Under-19 World Cup. I think what we will remember was if Michael winds up becoming one of the best freshmen that we've ever seen at Louisville and one of the better players in college basketball this upcoming season, I think this showing will be the moment where we all kind of were like, okay, like this could be even better than we thought it was going to be. I mean, he was already projected as a lottery pick going into this tournament, and people are saying that he helped his draft stock more than any other player in the tournament. You know, you've got a lot of people talking about him being a top 5 pick. You've got a few people talking about the potential for him to play his way up into that big 3 category, or the big 3 potentially becoming a big 4. Kyle Boone of CBS has him going 4th overall now after the way that he played. I think Boone had him going 10th overall before the tournament. So Michael helped his draft stock immensely, and I think in the process got this fan base somehow even more excited about what he brings to the table than they were ahead of the tournament, which is crazy because we were already over the moon about how good this kid could be. Now, did you see they had the pictures of, he still made the, whatever it was, like the Super 5. They highlighted the 5 best players of the tournament. Debanza and Michael were the only players from Team USA on that Super 5, and then Debanza won the MVP. So all of the players who made that, like, all-star team, they took a picture afterwards. Michael kind of looks pissed. Like, he kind of looks like, all right, whatever. He didn't say anything about this. But you know who did say some stuff about this?
His dad.
His dad, you know, he's Coach Chris Brown on Twitter. It's at A2 Advanced, and he has been outspoken throughout the little bit of time that we've known he and his son. And immediately after there's no, like, so proud of my son, like, congrats to Team USA. Like, immediately after Debanza wins the MVP, the dad tweets out, learned a lot today, and then it's like handshake emoji, strong emoji, writing down, taking notes emoji, and all this stuff. And then he ends up quote tweeting Terrence Oglesby, who puts out the stats for both players and says, I'm not quite sure how Michael did not win the MVP. And Michael's dad says, like, hey, shrug emoji, back to the gym we go. If you know anything about us, we will be back bigger, faster, stronger, and better. Just another log in the furnace, once again, taking notes emoji. And then a couple hours later, he's still thinking about it. No excuses over here. If you want something in this world, you go effing take it. If you leave the door open for chance, you don't deserve it. Therefore, same results until the morale changes. Point no fingers. Look in the mirror. He's acting like they got beat in the first round of this tournament. Like, his son just won gold medal, was clearly the best player in the entire tournament, was, you know, hailed as one of the 5 best players in this tournament, but didn't win the MVP, and his dad's like, this is ridiculous. And he's basically, like, putting the onus on his son to not have made it more clear that he was the best player. Do we like this, or are we a little worried about this? I think it's a little concerning.
Kind of LeVar Ballish a little bit, but I don't hate it, Mike.
I like
There's not enough dads like this, I think.
I like the motivational aspect of it. I wish we could mix in at least a little bit of the, like, very proud of what we accomplished. Like,
if you're going to be tweeting, yeah.
Like a little bit of, like,
because I'm not mad at you for feeling any of those feelings, but if you're going to make a point to let the world know you feel this way, also show that you're proud of your son for being in the position, you know.
Won a gold medal and played off his ass the entire tournament. Like, maybe there should be, like, at least
his body on the line every time he goes on the floor. Like,
give me a mild acknowledgement of that. And then you can also still do, like, the whole, like, we're taking notes, like, he should have been MVP. But, like, all of his tweets are basically like you would have thought that his son played, like, absolute crap this entire tournament, and Team USA got bounced in the quarterfinals or something, and that's not what happened at all. But there's definitely, I enjoy the motivational element of it. I enjoy the dad who's going to be like, we're going to get better. But I also think that there's a place for being like, hey, all in all, this is a pretty good week and a half for Michael Brown at the FIBA Under-19 World Cup. He definitely helped his draft stock immensely.
And I feel like at the end of the day, he's like, they're just sitting there and he's looking at him. He's like, it's kind of your fault.
Yeah, I mean, you could have averaged 30 a game, giving him no choice. but to give you the MVP. That's essentially what his last tweet says.
That's a little bit interesting there.
Which, I mean, one of the things that I liked about Michael as the tournament went on, when games would get sort of out of hand, he wasn't out there hunting stats. He was looking to make the extra pass. He was looking to get other people involved. He was looking, you don't want him to be a player who's thinking about individual accolades. You want him to be, especially on a team that has the roster that we have for this upcoming season. He's going to score for us a ton, no question about that. But if he's thinking about how many points do I have, how many assists do I have, I want to make sure that I'm first team All ACC or ACC Freshman of the Year. That's going to be counterproductive because there are going to be other. I mean, you look at Duke's roster. Clearly, there's a lot of talent there, but the Boozer kid's going to play more minutes than Michael is. I think. They're not as deep, and I know Michael's going to play a ton because, he's going to be the starting point guard. Point guard's the most key position on the floor. A lot of people will tell you, and we'll see how good Kobe Rogers is. We'll find out. Maybe Kobe can be more than just a serviceable backup, but it would not shock me if Michael, because of the pace that we want to play and because of how deep we are, is only playing around 25 minutes a game. Now, maybe that goes up as the season goes on and we realize that we just can't have him on the bench. But my point is, the mentality needs to be, I'm out here to win a national title, not I'm out here to be ACC Freshman of the Year or first team All-American or whatever it is. And I think that he'll accept that. I think that he'll be fine with that. The dad maybe not so much based on the tweets, but I liked everything that I saw from Michael Brown, whether he was MVP or officially or not. He was the best player in this tournament.
Yeah, 100%.
And his team won primarily because of how good he was.
Or at least got to those leads,
Yeah.
that they got to in the games that they won comfortably.
I mean, I don't mind to say it. You take him off that team, they don't win the gold medal. There's zero doubt in my mind after watching how much they were pushed by that Canadian team and a little bit by the German team in the finals. If they did not have him to run the show, I don't think they win the entire thing. I also was a lot more impressed by Tyron Stokes as the tournament went on. He started off a little bit slow early on. You're kind of he looks a little bit out of place. It wasn't just the talent. He made a lot of big-time hustle plays. There were a lot of, keeping plays alive by...
He's an athlete.
Saving balls. And he showed more of his knack for just, having a nose for the ball, understanding, had basketball instincts, all of those types of things. I was really impressed with him in the game against Canada and the game against Germany. I can see... I mean, you can always see what all the fuss was about from him as a prospect, but you can see him as also being a guy that is going to win at an exceptionally high level in his one season of college basketball, wherever that may be. Hopefully it's here. Debanza, you can see, like I said, you can see why he's a really good prospect. I thought he was probably the third or fourth best player on this team. I was really impressed by Koa Pete. Morris Johnson, I think is going to be terrific at Illinois. He's very, very good. There was a lot of talent on that roster. You can see why a lot of these guys are going the places where they are and why they wound up winning the gold medal. But out of all of them, I'm glad we got our guy. And it still feels weird to be talking about things in those terms. I think he's going to be a top 10 draft pick. I think he's got a chance to be a top 5 draft pick. And regardless of how his minutes play out and his stats play out, I think he's shown enough to solidify himself as the best point guard prospect in this upcoming draft class. Any parting thoughts before we move on from the Michael Brown conversation?
No, Mike, I think you're completely right. I think I didn't really have the thought. I didn't ask myself this, but looking back, I think if you take him away from this team, they have different outcomes in a few different of these games. And the entirety of the games look different when who you got to go to and how they're going to go conduct offense. He quite literally made the game easier for the coaches and for the other guys out there when he was on the floor. So that's a really big sign to see that he has that kind of a gravitational pull on a game and at his age already as a point guard and can kind of fully lead a team offensively and at least effort-wise be exactly what you want to see on the defensive end too. I just hope the dad doesn't. I feel like it can be tough for a freshman point guard at the start of seasons, and I just don't want to have dad. Want to make sure he understands that too, right? And we don't want to get in any situations where.
I mean, I'm going to say it. He's going to fight with some fans. It's going to happen. Just prepare yourself, everybody, because it doesn't matter how good Michael is. There are going to be, 3 or 4 fans that are like saying something on Twitter at some point, and I feel like the dad's going to go at it with them.
Yeah.
He's also going to go out with UK fans. Like that. This is a foregone conclusion. As long as he just recognizes that Pat Kelsey is the end all be all here, and once we get to official practices, stays out of the way, I'm fine with that.
That's more what I'm talking about here. I hope he understands that, Pat Kelsey has it figured out, and he's going to do everything he can to make sure his son's in the best position possible. So that's what we don't want. We don't want any crazy tweets about Pat Kelsey.
It's weird, too, because as new as this is for all of us, this is new for Pat Kelsey, too. I'm not saying that he hasn't dealt with, I don't even want to call it, I don't know the dad well enough to call him like an overbearing parent. I just see the tweets, right? But
you could say he's an overbearing opinion on his son's basketball path.
He's definitely showing that a little bit. Kelsey's never, I'm sure he's dealt with some parents that have similar mentalities. But as far as the parent of a kid who is unquestionably going to be a high first-round NBA draft pick, Pat Kelsey's never dealt with this. And this is something that he's going to have to, if we're going to keep swimming in these waters, which is what it seems like he wants to do. We're going after a bunch of 5-star prospects in the next class and the 27 class. It seems like he wants to keep bringing in at least one of these kids every single year. You're going to have to deal with some parents that have different thoughts on their kid's future than the parents of kids that were playing at Charleston and Winthrop and even the ones from last year's Louisville team and most of the other players on your current team. And that's new for him. It's new for everybody on the staff. This may be an area where like Peyton Siva has to help out a little bit, So hopefully it doesn't wind up becoming an issue. I don't think it will, but these things are impossible to predict. The kid himself, Michael himself, seems to be super mature. We had him on the show when he committed, and we were both really, really impressed with how eloquently he talked about kind of big world issues.
Yeah, things that were important to him.
Yeah, he's clearly well-versed in how to go about this whole thing. But he wouldn't be the first person who had like a dad that was just, or a parent or a handler or a coach or whoever who just kind of like did a little too much.
Yeah.
Did a little too much. We'll figure it out as we go. We'll figure it out. Now he's back in Louisville. Now he's back in, Papa Kelsey's got him. And now it's time to get to work. Let's go out there and let's make some plays. You know who was working over the weekend?
Gameday Men's Health?
Well, them. They're always working. I was speaking more directly, though, about a man they call the Big Dog.
Oh, he was. I got into this a little bit.
Every time, I can't stop. Like, I have gone a complete 180 here. I still have my doubts about the whole bringing Vince Marrow in, even after what we saw this weekend. But talking about this grown man who refers to himself as the Big Dog is my new favorite thing. I can't do it enough. There was an episode of a show on Netflix that's called Friends from College, which I really liked. It got canceled after 2 seasons, left us on a cliffhanger. I hate it forever. But there's one episode where Seth Rogen makes a cameo. They all it's all these guys who went to Harvard together like 15 years earlier, and Seth Rogen has this character where in college he was known as the party dog, and the episode's hilarious. But he just refers to himself as the dog, and there's this one scene where he's like, "The dog gonna do what the dog gonna do," and it's all I can think of every time. He's like, people know me as the party dog, that big bad dog. Ooh, it's all I think of now when Vince Marrow goes out there and does stuff. But the dog was barking this weekend in a major way. There we go. This is the new Big Dog sound. Oh, there it is. In the scene that I keep posting, he's talking to Michael Key, and he's doing this thing where he's like, "Well, the dog gonna do what the dog gonna do," and I cut it off there because Michael Key's like, he goes, "Well, that's just rape," and he's like, "Well, the dog gonna get consent, and then the dog gonna do what the dog gonna do." It's all I can think of. Anyways, the Big Dog, as had been widely projected ever since he himself flipped from Kentucky to Louisville, flipped what had previously been the highest-ranked commit in Kentucky's class of 2026, Jarvis Strickland, 4-star offensive lineman. He's from Paducah-Tillman. had offers from Michigan, from Tennessee, from Ole Miss, is ranked as the 413th best overall prospect in the 24/7 Sports composite rankings. 6'4", 294, great height, great wingspan, should be able to play at this level. Obviously needs to put on a little bit more weight to be a big-time power conference offensive lineman, but this was a big deal. This was a guy that they prioritized. This was a guy, we brought the big dog in here essentially to recruit the way that he did at Kentucky in the trenches. That was why they went on a 5-game winning streak against us. They were bigger, they were more talented in the middle, and they wore us down, especially when it came to a game that was played in the final week of the regular season. We need, with all the assets that we have going on right now, clearly a lot of offensive talent. We've had some good defensive talent in recent years. The area where we still need the most level of improvement, if we're going to be like a playoff caliber program moving forward, is in the trenches. And the dog's out there trying to make it happen. So Jarvis Strickland, big-time deal. Again, not overly unexpected, but still, take a kid from Paducah who had been dead set on going and playing for Kentucky and bringing him to Louisville, Roman. It's the latest indication that we are going to be the new big dogs in in-state recruiting.
I was about to say, Mike, I feel like any recruits that were like guaranteed kind of the consensus opinion on them is that they can play at this level pretty quickly or soon, or that their body's ready or whatever it may be in state. They were kind of headed to Kentucky or they were headed out of the state.
Mm-hmm.
And now you bring the big dog in, you compare that with a school whose football team is headed toward a direction of success, and any local kid now who's got any connects, like there's going to be more ties to Louisville now, and he's going to have even more reason to feel like he can make something happen here in Louisville. So
no question.
I think this is huge. I mean, I emphasize this. This is like, not only did I want to start seeing the more young guys come in and bring in guys that you feel like you're going to be able to play soon for a freshman, right? And maybe not freshman year, but quickly after that. Anybody in state that you felt that way about, you had to go and get, Mike. And they're down doing it. And the big dogs probably playing a large role into that.
No, I mean, you're exactly right. Like, when it came to big-time players, I mean, like, our big complaint when the end of the Petrino era was happening and then when Scott Satterfield was here was we were losing players from Louisville to Kentucky and to other programs out in the state. And it wasn't even like, hey, maybe we can go out there and get – because when we were rolling back in the Charlie Strong era, and Strong didn't prioritize Kentucky recruiting, but if there was a big-time player from out in the state, we had a chance to get him when we were the clearly superior program to UK. And in recent years, it'd been more of like, well, let's just try to get some players from Louisville. If they're out in the state, they grew up as Kentucky fans, we got no shot there. And now that has completely turned on its head, where it's like, we're getting, like, if you're the best player in the state of Kentucky, we now are kind of like expecting to get you.
Yeah.
You look at the top ranked players in the class of 2020, and it's funny to go back to other years because, like, we're getting none of these kids from the state of Kentucky. But now in the 24/7 sports rankings, when it comes to the best players in the state of Kentucky, number 1, Jarvis Strickland. He's a Cardinal. Number 2, Evan Hampton, the running back from Owensboro, going to Louisville. Number 3, Karsten Bush from St. X, linebacker, going to Louisville. Top 3 players in the state, they're all going to Louisville. And 2 of them aren't from the city of Louisville. Number 4, Josiah Hope. We had him at one point. Now he's going to Purdue. Marlon Harbin from St. X, number 7, going to Louisville. Brighton Close.
What position does he play, Marvin?
He's an athlete. He plays wide receiver for them. Could play. It's going to be one of those guys that you're trying to figure out if you want to play him on offensive wide receiver or defense in the secondary. My guess will be defense, but we'll find out. Kid's the real deal, though. Super athlete. Bryson Close, Taylor County, plays for Campbellsville. Number 8 prospect in the state, offensive tackle. 6'6", 285, going to Louisville. Number 9, Sam Dawson from South Oldham, defensive lineman, going to Louisville. Max Mertz from Fort Thomas Highlands.
Wow.
Kentucky staple. They've got some of their best players in history have gone to Kentucky from Fort Thomas Highlands, going to Louisville. It's just like, this is, and like I said, go to the pages on Rivals or ESPN or wherever and flip back to previous years, and there's no red in there in that top 10. And now we're just kind of dominating in-state recruiting. And we're also going out there and we're beating some big-time programs for some other players from out of state, including, how about Julius Miles? Tight end that Louisville had really prioritized, 6'6", 210 pounds. He's a guy that plays more wide receiver than tight end at the high school level, but we project him to play tight end at this level. And you're talking about the programs that he was considering besides us. Colorado, they recruit pretty well. Florida State, they recruit pretty well. Syracuse, they're recruiting pretty well right now. Michigan State, those were his final four besides us. And Louisville goes out there and lands Julius Miles. Plays for Freeport High School in Freeport, Florida. 6'6", 210, like I said. Very, very athletic. Huge wingspan, which is great skill set to have for a tight end. He's a little thin right now. He's going to have to put on some weight. This is a guy, though, that you're taking for the future. I'm just a super athlete. We've seen in years past how the best tight ends are kind of multi-sport guys. He's a standout in basketball. He's a standout in track and field. He's a great runner. He's got great skill. You can see why he was prioritized by a number of big-time programs. And I think when you look at our roster right now, Jeff Brom ideally wants to play a lot of two tight end sets. Like, he wants to have – we have not utilized the tight ends a ton in his first 2 years. He wants that to change. It's always been a big part of his passing game. And this would be, I think, with Miles, he fits more of that, like, if you want to throw it back to Gary Barnidge. He's going to be the pass-catching tight end. I think Brom wants to get to a world where you've got blocking tight ends and you've got pass-catching tight ends, and you can play them both at the same time. You got to be able to do a little bit of both to play the position. Miles will be a big-time threat in the passing game as long as he develops the right way. And, you know, in this day and age, you have to say it, sticks with the program. He's a guy that will, I think, get on the field in a couple of years, and when he does, can make a gigantic impact in our passing game. But this was like they saw him, they prioritized him, they went out there and they got him. And that's been kind of the theme with this 2026 class from Jeff Brom and company. I love what we're doing on the recruiting show. I know we've had a few decommits recently, but we're still piecing together a really exciting class. There's a lot of buzz out there that there's another 4-star who could be on the way fairly soon. So, Roman, things are good.
Things are great.
Things are good. Now, if you're talking about one of those decommits that I was talking about, Jamarcus Weiss. I don't know why Purdue's taking all these guys from us. Do they feel like this is like getting back at Jeff Brom? Because you're out there winning 3 games every year. But Jamarcus Weiss did commit to Purdue over the weekend. So that's the second one that they flipped from us. Whatever. You know, enjoy it. You're a doormat in the Big Ten. It's not going to stop anytime soon. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get to the Game Day Men's Health text line for the first time. We've got a couple of things to talk about as well. Rain Smith had some great quotes in a story today that I want to get to. But your thoughts will come first. 502-414-1450 is the number. Whatever's on your mind, weekend experience, thoughts on Michael Brown, thoughts on U of L football recruiting, whatever you got, we'll take it after the break. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450-96.1, Big X Sports Radio. wonderful. I felt like it was like the weekend was 4 days. It felt like it was like 7. It was just great. I think 4th of July should be on a Friday every day. Get on that, Trump.
That'd be nice.
Make something happen, Trump. Let's do it. Let's go. Real quickly before we go to the Game Day Men's Health text line, just across the news wire here. I did this last year, and I'm going to do it again. I don't want to. I'm very excited about Jeff Brom. Out of all the watch lists that come out before the college football season, this is always the dumbest. This is the worst one. This is the one that makes no sense. They have a preseason 2025 Dodd Trophy watch list. The Dodd Trophy goes to the best coach in college football. How you can accurately predict who's going to be a good coach in an upcoming season is beyond me. Like, they've got 26 coaches on the list. If they had 26 last year, I don't know who won the award. But it would not shock me if they weren't even on the list. Like, I don't know how you come up with this. But they think Jeff Brom's going to have a very good year, and that's enough for me. He was on the list last year. 26 of the nation's top college football coaches. Jeff Brom's there. Cool. I'm good with this. But also, like when conferences name is a preseason coach of the year, how? Are you just giving the coach who's on the number one team the nod? It makes no sense whatsoever. Because coach of the year very rarely goes to the coach of the best team. It typically goes to like the most overachieving coach. Duke basketball Twitter. Anyway. What are you going to do? Congratulations to Jeff Brom. I hope you win the Dodd Trophy.
I think he can win it.
Sure, why not? Win a national title, you're the Dodd Trophy Coach of the Year. Make it happen. Game Day Men's Health text line, always making it happen at 502-414-1450. You guys have been patiently waiting. Let's get to it. Texter says the men's basketball roster is officially out on the website. Have you seen this?
I haven't.
We've got numbers. We've got a full roster. We're raring to go. Let's talk about it. Michael Brown is going to wear number 0, Roman.
I'm not mad at it.
I like it. I think it's perfect. Javon Hadley is back at as number 1. Ryan Conwell will be number 3. Cole Sherman is on the team and is going to be rocking number 4. Can you give me something there?
I like this.
Cole Sherman's your boy.
He is. He said he was going to be back, and then
we thought he was lying to you. He
was in the portal.
Tested the portal. We made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
I didn't want to ask him about it. Sounds like they knew that they couldn't let him go, Mike.
The St. X to Louisville pipeline is, our St. X walk-ons are strong, which we're going to get to in just a second. Dylan Despians, who committed to Louisville back in February as a walk-on from IMG Academy in Canada, is on the team. He's number 5. Kason Pryor will once again be rocking number 7. Kenai Roos will once again be rocking number 9. Isaac McNeely will wear number 10. Kobe Rogers will wear number 11. Muhammad Kamara, who did officially sign with Louisville during the holiday, will rock number 12. Sananda Fru, who hopefully will be back soon, is going to be number 13. Adrian Woolley, number 14. Ali Khalifa, number 15. Will Hankey, told you he's going to be the team, Rutherford Show exclusive. Walk on from St. X is going to be number 33. I don't know how we feel about this.
Yeah, he took Aiden's number.
He did take Aiden's number, but I was going with the next one.
Oh.
Vangelis Zugris is going to wear number 53. I can't think of a less impactful number. I mean, we loved the fact that Noah Waterman rocked 93 last year. Zugris going with 53 is an absolutely insane move that makes me kind of love him because I feel like he's sort of insane himself.
I can't even fathom what the 53 would be for, but I love it, Mike.
I need to know, like,
it fits his character.
Yeah, I need to know, like, what the story is beyond this. Spencer Legg wraps up the roster. He will be number 55 once again in his final season as a walk-on at Louisville. So the roster makeup is now official unless something crazy happens. We've got 12 technically scholarship players and then 4 walk-ons. Are we good with this?
I'm all right with this.
You want one more?
I wanted one more player.
I know.
But I'm okay with this.
Now, the bios on the website, they don't have like all the spicy details yet. Where it's like I want to find out why Zucris is wearing 53. They just kind of have like his stats, his history, like where he played before Louisville. I want to get into like the media guide stuff where it's like he rocks number 53 because he saw it in an episode of Teen Wolf, the TV show, where he was wearing 50. Like I want to know the backstory here is what I'm getting at. But the roster's out there. It's official. We did not get into, because it happened so early in our long weekend, the Muhammad Kamara news about him officially being added. I think it was on July 3rd. I think so. So Thursday. The quote from Pat Kelsey in the press release was this: Mo is a big-time athlete who has the ability to be an elite defender early in his career. He can guard every position on the floor and disrupts both on the ball and at the rim. He has great tools and a mindset that craves coaching, which will allow him to develop quickly. He will be playing on an experienced veteran team, which will allow him to learn and grow daily. We are very excited to have him here at Louisville. In another interview, I think he said, like Kelsey said, like he's going to be a great player here at some point. All of this says to me that they're not planning on him playing like a gigantic role on this year's team. But I have heard that they are very excited about his potential down the line. I think he'll play this year. I don't think they're going to redshirt him. But I think he is right now, kind of like the unquestioned 12th man on a 12-man team. Is that fair?
That's fair.
And look, maybe if he steps up. I mean, I think he can play defensively and uses athleticism. The offensive skill set is obviously very raw. And I think that's where we saw it a little bit with like a Boubacar Traore last year, who was a much more experienced player.
It'd be like that minus the ball handling.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's kind of the deal with him. I think that they're fine with him getting out there and like, if we're up by 10, letting him be a defensive stopper and then just saying like, hey, just kind of don't get in the way offensively.
See if you can be that dunk spot threat maybe.
Exactly. I think that will be his role for this year's team. And then they're going to try to it's sad, but he does, by all accounts, is a kid who likes to be coached, loves the game, wants to get better, wants to learn, and could definitely be a kid who 2-3 years down the line is really helping us out.
Seems like the kind of defender that's already going to make the guys at practice better, too.
That too, for sure.
It may be a minor thing, but can only help.
Kelsey talked about it, too, and said that, he wants to he's playing on a veteran team. Like, those guys are going to make him a lot better, and I agree with that for sure. Texter also said, we have two players that I hadn't seen mention: a Canadian freshman from IMG Academy and a freshman from St. X. We told you about Will Hankey. Well, I was telling you for like the last 2 months that he was coming. The Despians kid quietly committed to us back in February. It was kind of a blip, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he will be here as a walk-on, obviously. Romanator texted in, oh boy, as my internet goes out. Roman, don't get too down about the video of you golfing. I've golfed my whole life and still have my ups and downs. Breaking 100 on 9 holes one of these days is definitely possible. I thought he was going to be nice to you there for a second, and then he hits you with the hammer in the last sentence.
Yeah.
You did break 100 on 9.
Yeah, I get what he's saying.
You had a standard bogey, like a traditional bogey.
Should have had 2.
But that lets you know that it's possible.
Yeah.
Texter says, did you know that yesterday was Master P's last concert ever? Considering that you two are close personal friends, did he disclose to you why he's retiring from rap? I actually was there. They brought me on stage. I did True Hootie Hoo. I did the Silk the Shocker part. No, I did not know that. It was his last concert, and it was Black Sabbath's last concert. Did you see any of the highlights of that? Like Ozzy Osbourne?
Not at all.
He's looking a little rough. They brought him out there in like a big throne to sing because he can't stand up. It was a little rough.
That's tough.
I think Master P was able to stand. But like Master P, his whole thing now is he hasn't been about the music in a long time. Like he's an entrepreneur. He's got rap stacks. He's got the drinks going. He's got he's got his hand in all sorts of different things. Sports TV shows that we do for one episode. Made his $1 million off the sports show and then bounced. He's just doing he's doing whatever he wants to. Texter says, I just started a Louisville Dynasty mode in the game. First course of action in the offseason after year 1. Hit the portal hard and then fire Ron English. Poor Ron. He's getting fired in video games already. Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville, says, my wife and I tried a pizza with Mike's Delicious Hot Honey glazed all over it. But unfortunately, it was too delicious, and she couldn't handle the hot honey. Tragic tale of Icarus. I don't even want to respond to that. I've got nothing to say whatsoever to that. Also says college football day early access feels almost as good as whenever the Reds finally get rid of Santiago Espinal. Anyway, back to gaming. I'm on hour 4. Test 2. I forget everything. I need a play-by-play of your golf outing, and Hunter Green might be pitching for the Bats tomorrow. Big eyeball emoji. The Reds also did send down Rhys Hines and his 123 average today, and got Connor Joe back up with the squad. And the very first comment on Reds Twitter was like, "We just traded Hitler for Stalin." I was like, "Oh God,
That's tough.
The Reds did not meet my goal of taking 3 of 6 from the Red Sox and Phillies, but they still can meet my secondary goal, which is winning 5 of 7 from the Marlins and the Rockies in their 7 games this week. Unfortunately, the Fish are playing pretty well right now, so they still, if they're going to be a realistic threat in the second half, I think they need to win at least 5 of these 7 games coming up this week. 4 would be serviceable. If you have a losing record against these two teams, you run the risk of having to be sellers at the deadline. But pitching's doing well. Chase Burns looked better yesterday. The hitting faced 2 really good pitchers in Philadelphia the last 2 days. Didn't go great, but I was glad they got that game 1 win. So he wants a play-by-play of Roman's golf outing. It would take a while.
Yeah, just take long. Started off pretty good for someone of my skill level. I don't mean like good in golf sense, just good for someone who's trying to consistently make good contact and hit it the right direction, and then it slowly deteriorated from there.
I did, the course was pretty open, which was nice. We didn't have like groups breathing down our back, but I did feel bad that there was like one guy playing a solo round behind us for the first couple of holes. And like you could tell he was hitting like 7 balls per shot as we were moving a little bit. And finally on hole 4, I was like, "Dude, you got to play through." He's like, "Thank you." But besides that, like there was like nobody behind us, so we could have a little bit of a long 9.
It was nice,
which is okay. Texas that I can now say with 100% confidence that Michael, what's up with the internet here? Why is it just not? That Michael will average 11 points and 9 assists per game next year. Hear ye, hear ye. I think he'll average more than 11 points.
He won't average 9 assists.
I don't think he'll average 9 assists. I think he'll average more points, fewer assists.
13 and 6.
I would take 13 and 6. I think that would be wonderful. Taser, what's up with Trez saying that he might not play in the TBT? For anybody who didn't see it, Montrezl Harrell put out, what was I want to make sure that I get the official wordage right. He said something along the lines of, "Appreciate everything from the Ville, but I'm not sure if I will be in the TBT this year!" ! My understanding is this is because of a conflict with the Big Three. He's been, he did like the one-on-one game with Earl Clark a couple of Sundays ago that was sponsored by the Big Three. I think he's going to play in the Big Three, which is the same conflict that Earl actually had a couple of years ago. The Big Three, as of right now, is a little bit more, it's guaranteed money, it's more lucrative, and like he says, I may not be able to play. My understanding is like he's not playing, so I think we're going to lose Trez, which is a big loss for that TBT squad.
Yeah, that's tough. The presence he was our interior presence last year, Mike.
Yeah.
Don't like to see this, especially knowing he was going to be in even better shape probably than he was in last year going into the game, to the tournament. It's tough, but we've also brought some other names in, and I think the guard play will make up for it this year.
Let me ask you a question. So, Fratty Patty, a.k.a. Patrick Ryan, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. Don't Call Me P. Diddy, a.k.a. The Prez, he hit me up with a question, like, I think he was drinking over the weekend, and it sent me like which would you pick? I'm having an argument with friends about this.
What did he say?
He said, which would you choose? Like, if you could pick one of these two things. A TBT championship for the Ville team, or a like random mid-February win over a very average Syracuse team for the actual season. What would you say?
Well, I need that win, Mike. I don't even mean to think about it that long.
What that?
The mid-February win.
Okay, that's what I said too.
Easy.
I didn't hesitate. I was like, the TBT is fun, but if we win the TBT championship, I'm not like celebrating and like going out and going. It's like a cool thing that happened with our former alums. Like it's more of like a fun. Like I view the TBT as more of like a fun kind of summer distraction, and it's a good way to get the new players familiar with the basketball culture here around the city, to see the fans show up and you know, have interactions with guys that played here and played in the NBA and did all that good stuff. But it's not something where I'm like living and dying with
the actual results of the games don't impact what it's doing for us.
Like obviously I want them to win, but when it gets close in the like, I'm not like feeling the same butterflies that I do during the actual season. And so like I think Diddy was like talking about how it was like more of a, if he's like, forget Syracuse, I'm just saying like the 8th place team. I know I'm casually referring to him as Diddy on purpose. It's like the 8th place team in the ACC. I'm like, well, I want that win. Like I would go so far as to say like I would rather have a win over like Ohio in the non-conference than win the TBT. I think now that we're good at basketball again, the main thing's the main thing, and the TBT is kind of like it's where it should be, which is on the back. I mean, most college programs, most big college programs have had a TBT team for a long time. And like, I think if you ask any Syracuse fan, like, would you rather have Boeheim's Army win the TBT or like be good at basketball again and make the end? Like, they're not going to hesitate. It's like it's a fun thing to kind of watch casually, but it's not actual Louisville basketball anymore. So for me, it's a no-brainer. But again, that's just me. I know other people maybe feel differently. Chris the Plumber texted in, said, I'm glad your firework cherry was popped, Mike. I hope you felt that patriotic freedom coursing through your veins as you blew bleep up. Say it, Mike and Roman. America. Chris the Plumber.
It's a great text.
Texture says, can you break down the 4 walk-ons games for those who... but my texts are they're not loading.
Can you break down the 4 walk-ons games for those listed on the U of L men's basketball roster online? Hankey, Legg, Sherman, and Desbins.
I know nothing about Dylan
Desbians.
I know nothing about him. Now Cole Sherman and Spencer Lake we saw last. We still don't really know much about their games because like we didn't play walk-ons hardly at all.
Cole Sherman's a shooter, likes to come off of screens, get his shot up, can get it up in a pretty high clip off the catch at any speed and angle I've heard. So
Spencer Lake,
interesting.
I think is still the most talented walk-on that we have.
Yeah, he can dribble, shoot, pass. He could be out there and like be setting screens, and you wouldn't be losing anything physically. I think he's like the most physically prepared to play this game.
He's a 6'7" guard.
Hankey's a dog.
Now he's 6'4". He's big. He's
don't get on you, Mike.
But the issue is he played like basically like center/power forward at St. X last year because he was 6'4", 210, which you can do in high school basketball. You can't do that. Like he's going to have to be a guard here playing as a walk-on. But definitely a physical presence. Definitely was a very good player in high school. His dad's also the CFO of Junior Bridgman's company, so it's how walk-ons work sometimes. That's you gotta be strategic with your walk-ons. Dylan Avar was here for a reason back in the day. So I think if you're looking at, I think Legg is the guy that can give you the most meaningful minutes if it comes down to it. Cole Sherman can shoot it, like you said. He made a couple threes last year, I think, when he got in. Will Hankey was a very good high school player. We'll see if he can play guard. I know nothing about Dylan Desbians, just being fully honest. If you look up there's like nothing about him. Like, I mean, even his bio on the official U of L website, it's like about him. His whole bio is one line. Graduated from IMG Academy in 2025. That's it. That's it. But somehow he committed to us in February. I wonder if he's one of those types of kids that it's like, I just want to be a coach. And he got involved with Pat Kelsey somehow, like some camp or something like that. And they formed that connection because there's literally nothing about him anywhere on the internet. He might be my favorite player on the team now. We're just going to chant for Desbians at the end of every game. Texture says, Mike and Roman, hopefully, you have to read this. My texts are not loading here.
Mike and Roman, hopefully you all are having a good, mine aren't either. What the?
I don't think it's an internet issue. I think it's just text group.
Hopefully you all are having a good Monday. Also hope something. They also hope something, Mike.
Well, we are. We can't. Yeah, text groove. They're grooving again. Like every other one is working. Okay, here it is. Also, hope you enjoyed your 4th of July weekend and didn't get twalked over the weekend. Did not get twalked. Did you get twalked?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't know.
Got fully robbed.
That's what twalking is. You got fully robbed?
Yes.
How did you not bring this up at the beginning of the show?
It was minor, and it was fully my fault.
Oh boy, did you leave the car unlocked?
No, I left some shoes in the back of the little white truck, like in the bed of the truck. Some tweaker down by my house. Just I shouldn't call them. Assume they're a tweaker, but they
not a twalker.
They haven't returned it yet.
Tweaker, not a twalker. Man, sorry.
All good.
Did you like the shoes?
I did.
I hate that. Why are people the way that they are?
Why you don't leave your shoes in the truck?
Still, yeah, come on, man. Like, all right, now I had the next one loaded, and now it's not working again. Did you all have groups lined up behind you at Crescent, and then it stops?
Crescent Thrill? No.
We didn't. Like I said, it was super wide open. It was not the Crescent Hill that I knew back in the day, where everybody was like on. Like I almost got killed at Crescent Hill 17 times over the years.
I called in with a different voice and different number and got pretend to. So made sure that couldn't happen.
7. Did you have any groups lined up behind you at Crescent Thrill? 70 on 9 holes. I'm shocked that you beat Will. That you lost to Will. I thought you had the better game.
I tweaked there at the end.
You did make the 11 on 9.
He had that 12:01.
Yeah, it was. We got off to a rough day. I mean, I think that. I'll just be perfectly honest. Like I hit a great drive on 1, and I waited like 10 minutes to hit my second shot. I was like, this could be a long. This could be a long. But then you guys picked it up. We got it going a little bit.
We did.
All right.
Got in the groove, then got tired very quickly.
It happens. We got to go to break. 4 o'clock hour is on the way next. We'll keep it rolling in the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Back after this here on 1450 The Big X. Roman, you dropped a bomb on me. Welcome back in. 4 o'clock hour now of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Hopefully everyone had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. Enjoy the extra time off. Now we're back at it. Now we're back rolling on a Monday. The sports are just like a couple days away, a couple weeks away. We're good to go. What we do need to do, though, now that we're in like the heart of the off season, is we got to get our Rewinder series back going. So we need to pick a game that we can do and review like on Thursday, a game that's officially on YouTube. Now, Roman, I'm going to let you have first pick here. I know there's excitement about both sports. Football's obviously closer. Basketball excitement is high. To kick off the Summer Rewinder series, do you want to do a football game or do you want to do a basketball game?
We got to start with the football game, Mike.
Okay. I think you had said you kind of wanted to do like a Charlie Strong era game. I'm going to put this out there. I think because I think somebody else suggested this at the beginning of the summer. The obvious choice is like the Sugar Bowl game, or the Sugar Bowl game is the obvious choice. I feel like we need to do like a regular season game. The Cincinnati game in 2013. 2013, Charlie's last year, where Teddy's heroics happened at Nippert Stadium. I know it's on there. The full game's out there on YouTube. It's like 2 hours. I think there's also a shorter version you can find somewhere else. Do we want to just do that?
We can do that.
Okay.
What's the date on that one?
It was late in the season, so it was like November of 2013. If you just type in 2013 Louisville at Cincinnati, I'm seeing it right now. So you can find it there. Do we want to do that?
Let's do it.
Okay, so everyone has 3 days to watch this game. 2013 Louisville at Cincinnati. It's funny because it's a relatively low-scoring game. I feel like all the action happens late. So I remember the 3 key plays that we made, but I don't really remember the buildup of how we got there. So I'm excited to watch this one. 2013 Louisville Cincinnati. We'll talk about it in the second hour of Thursday's show. So you've got 3 days to make that happen. Let's get it. Let's go. Rewinder series. Boom. It started. Speaking of Rewinder, I was, we didn't have a chance to preface this, to hype this up, because I didn't know about it until like it was a couple of days before. But they did the ACC Network's like Louisville Day. This month, every single year, they have one full day dedicated to every team in the league, and they show their best moments in all sports from the prior season in like a marathon. And I think it was Thursday night, because it was Thursday was Louisville's day, I believe. And the highlight, like the 8 o'clock showing, was the Louisville-Clemson football game. And kids were down. I'm outside, like, kind of just like hanging out, enjoying myself, and looking for something to watch. And like, I see that the game's on. And so I ended up watching like a very, very solid chunk of that game. And I'd already forgotten. It's only been, 7 months, 8 months, however long it's been. I'd forgotten, Roman, just what an absolute ass-kicking that was. Like, 33-20, the final score did not fully indicate just how thoroughly we whooped their ass from start to finish in that game. And you know what else it did? When I look at some of these preseason lists that are out there, I feel like I'm going crazy with the Cade Klubnik hype. And I know this was maybe his worst game of the year, or he didn't play well. I'm even more fully entrenched about Cade Klubnik is not that good. I feel like all of these lists of the best returning quarterbacks in college football, because there are so few quarterbacks that now return to their team where they had success the year before. They're either going pro or hitting the portal and all this stuff. I feel like we just defer to, if they were on a good team the year before, they're coming back for another year and you know who they are, well, they're top 5. Like Drew Aller, who was terrible in the playoff for Penn State, is on everybody's top list. Klubnik's like number 1 on a lot of these lists. He was not great last year.
He was a robot to me.
And I watched that game, and I'm like, I'm not insane. He wasn't good at all. Like he made no difficult throws in that game. In fact, there were a number of times where he had guys break free, and he was like a full second and a half late and gave like Quincy Riley time to to make up ground and almost get a pick. And like he was just bad. And I'm watching him like, is he that much better? Like this was the second to last game of the year for them in the regular season. This was he's a finished product at this point. And he looked terrible. Like we kicked the absolute crap out of him. And it made me feel even more confident about this game that we've got coming up this year on Friday night. Like we didn't just beat them. We didn't just go down to their place and, have a couple fluky plays and win the turnover battle and do all that. So like we whooped them start to finish.
Both sides of the ball.
There was nothing they did where they you watch that game and you're like, well, Clemson was clearly better here and Louisville just got lucky. And to Dabo's credit, he said as much after that game. Also watching that game, like the Dabo whining. I know it's tough to take in the middle of an actual game. Even watching it when I know that we win, I had to turn the channel a couple times. I was like, get this absolute clown off my TV. What's he complaining? He's going nuts about these obvious calls that are made. I can't stand him. I cannot stand him, Roman. Cannot stand him. I can always stand you guys on the Game Day Men's Health text line. 502-414-1450 is the Big X text line. Texas, when do the Kroger football posters drop? Give us the inside scoop. Another rite of passage in the summer? Another big mile marker moment? I've got no idea. It's got to be coming up pretty soon. What are the greatest Kroger poster moments of all time? I mean, I think the greatest Kroger poster moment of all time was the UK player who was showing off his butt and was like, I don't even remember what. There was definitely some entendre there where it was like, okay, this is somebody should not have signed off on this at all. Is your text group working now?
No. Mine is actually fully not working.
Who can we talk to from text group about fixing some stuff? Every other one is working for me right now. Okay, texter says
failure.
Oh, it says failure
on my phone.
Mine just won't load. They'll load the first part. Every other one will work now. Mike, do you think the reasoning behind us going after so many high school recruits in football is due to the changing NIL landscape, protecting ourselves when we can't splurge as much as we can now? Or do you think that's where the talent is right now? It's an obvious change from Jeff year one and now as to where we are getting our recruits. I don't. And maybe that's part of it. The primary reason, I think, is because he operated the way that he had to do, the way that he did for the first 2 years out of necessity. He, a ton of the roster left when he got the job and Scott Satterfield took the Cincinnati job. And so he basically had no choice but to bring in 50% of the roster as newcomers. And then last year it was kind of the same thing again. Now, that wasn't necessarily just strictly out of necessity, but he felt like that was the best way to make that team competitive and clearly did a pretty good job. I think now that he's got a handful of underclassmen that he feels like he can bring back for the upcoming season, he's making more of a concern. I think they feel confident that they've either got guys who are going to come back for next season or guys behind them who are also going to come back and step into bigger roles than they've had the past couple of years. I think they think that the roster retention is going to be better moving forward. And so instead of just saving a bunch of money to go out there and get a ton of plug-and-play starters and also a ton of plug-and-play depth pieces, they're focusing more in this upcoming cycle on bringing in solid incoming freshmen that they can develop over the course of 2 or 3 years. And I think they want it to be more of a standard combination moving forward, where they've got solid recruiting classes and then they're able to just pick and choose big-time portal players that are going to be starters for the upcoming season and not as much of the he was a guy who was a backup at Houston last year, but we have no depth on the offensive or defensive line, so we've got to go ahead and get him too. You're going to see less of those guys in the upcoming season and more just smaller classes with still that elite top-tier talent in the transfer portal moving forward. And I'm good with that. I mean, I know, Roman, you'd said you didn't like the way that we were sort of abandoning high school recruiting. This seems like it's more in tune with what your thinking is for roster construction moving forward.
Yeah, I think you need to be spending, bringing in, cutting the numbers in half and bringing in some of the best guys in the portal to really fill in those positions that either graduated or moved on to the NFL or felt like they needed to leave in the portal. Or having some and having more opportunity to plug in those situations with guys who are or who have been in the system for now a couple of years or so. I think you'll bring in better talent in the transfer portal. You'll have less expectation, less question marks, and it should probably allow for there to be more of a consistent culture, the established culture with everybody amongst the team when it's guys less guys coming in who have already played multiple years of college football at other places, and coming in and getting to see multiple guys all bought into the same environment and atmosphere because they've been there a couple years. Going to have guys buy in quicker too, I think. So,
I think this also could be like a reflection of the fact that Jeff feels like he's going to have to spend less money at like the highest paid positions in the portal moving forward, because like we spent a lot of money on Miller Moss. We spent probably not as much as we should have, but we got a deal on Tyler Shuck. But he still commanded. He's a quarterback, a solid chunk of money. Same with Jack Plummer. If you can promote from within at that position moving forward, you can save yourself a ton of money. Like if you have
you can go get the best wide receiver.
Exactly. Or you can spend that money on like somehow finding a way to bring Isaac Brown back if he goes out there and is like a Heisman Trophy candidate this year and still has one more year of college football left to play. Or if he and Duke Watson are both fantastic, maybe you've got enough money lying around to go and bring both those guys in. If they feel really strongly about one of the guys behind Miller Moss this year, whether it's Deuce or it's Mason Mims or it's who's the other one that I'm forgetting about? Brady Allen. If you feel like one of those guys is without question ready to step up and assume the role of starting quarterback in 2026, they're not going to command that much money, All things, they're going to be unproven unless something happens to Miller this year and they've got to step into a bigger role. You can spend that extra money on going out there, like you said, getting a big-time wide receiver or giving Isaac Brown an exorbitant amount of money that he's probably going to command. And I think that's the way that they're sort of approaching things moving forward. I think they feel like they've got guys now waiting in the wings that are ready to step into a bigger role in 2026 than they'll have this season, as long as they can convince them, like, hey, be patient, your time is coming. And roster retention is one of the best ways to save money. Promote from within. You don't have to pay those guys as much as those guys that have already proven more at other programs. Texas says, PRTG here. Roman's too young for this, but does he know the fringy spin? I've got a feeling we're going to get a lot of pressure from the edges this year with our ends and O-line, outside linebackers. Also, Mike's a liar. Hotels do clean the glasses mugs. Roman's right, though. Butt juice is everywhere. Oh, I don't believe you.
Oh, I don't have it. I can't read it. What does he ask me if I know what it is?
The Freeney spin. Are you familiar with Dwight Freeney?
I think I've heard that name. But I don't know about any Freeney spin.
He was a defensive end who was a beast for a long time, maybe most famously with the Colts. And he had this just like unstoppable spin move to get into the backfield. He's a beast.
Was it any different than like what most linemen spin moves look like these days?
Somehow it was more effective. I don't know exactly what it was, but he made the spin move famous on the defensive line. Syracuse product. Speaking of, I've got to say something about this. I don't love what happened over the weekend. Calvin Russell, who took a visit here when we honored Teddy Bridgewater last year, he was one of those big-time Miami Northwestern players where we were like, "Ooh, Teddy's bringing some prospects for us." He committed to Syracuse over the weekend. 5-star recruit, 5-star wide receiver is going to Syracuse. Picked him over Miami, Florida, Michigan, Oregon, Florida State, everybody under the sun. What's Teddy doing? Come on, Ted.
Yeah, Ted, you gotta work a little harder here.
I don't love this. I thought that this was going to be like an added benefit of Teddy getting the high school coaching job as Miami Northwestern. Now Syracuse has done this. They hired, Fran Brown's been there for a few years now, and he was known as like a solid recruiter. But what do you got?
That what's his name? Syracuse kid you just named?
Well, Syracuse. I just mentioned their head coach, Fran Brown.
The kid who's going to Syracuse.
Calvin Russell is the kid.
They're going to let him play basketball, too.
Oh, really? I knew he's big. He's like 6'6".
I guess that's why they're probably allowing this. Or that's probably why he wanted to go there, because they're allowing this.
Really? Well, we'll see how that goes. But they hired Aaron Minichi before last year, who has been known as like this big recruiting guru. I know Fran had a big recruiting reputation himself when he was at Georgia, But they've gone out there and they've landed a bunch of big level recruiting guys on that staff. And it's why you're starting to see Syracuse pop up in a bunch of 4-star, 5-star recruiting lists, which is crazy because they've never really recruited from those waters, at least since Donovan McNabb was there. And, yeah, props to them. Like, they're getting players. Now it's time to find out if they can do some stuff with them because recruiting can only take you so far. Texture says, Mike, do you think the reasoning behind... didn't I just read that? Yeah, I just read that one. Text Groove! Shaking my fist at the air with Text Groove. Text says, Roman, sign up for golf lessons. You're never going, and then I can't read the rest.
You're never going to get better at golf just going to the range and banging balls or getting lessons from someone who isn't a professional teacher. If you're going to different strokes, talk to one of the pros up there next time you go and get signed up. Yeah, that's a plan. It's on the docket. I'll eventually go do that. I've had a couple of teachers who just guided me in some really basic things, and that I saw immediate progress, but I do need to get an official lesson here soon. It'll happen. I'm not, I like that. I like learning things, trying to teach myself stuff. I get this is not really the kind of sport you can do that in fully if you want to get good quickly, but I like learning on the fly.
Producer Keith saw the video and sent me a message and was like, I think he forgot all the stuff that I taught him.
Yeah, he taught me a couple things.
He's disappointed that his teaching didn't seem to stick, is what he said.
It did for a while. I feel like it did on the irons. That is the driver, everything gets messed up. Lining that ball up to my front foot, Mike.
Yeah, you open
having to swoop under it. I don't like that. Yeah. I'll get good at it, though.
Yeah. Texture says, what are your thoughts on the Reds sending Espinal up in the top of the ninth over literally anybody else? Also, Connor Joe over Reese Hines. For what reason? Major Reds break needed if they don't win the minimum 5 of 7 before the All-Star break. Like, everyone I know who's a Guardians fan, and I promise I'll keep this short. Like, all these people are like, Reds, please stop. Everyone I know who's like a Guardians fan, they're like, Tito does this thing where he falls in love with a player or two that he has no reason falling in love with. And it's very clear that Santiago Espinal's that guy. Like, I have no idea what Espinal's done to make him earn that trust. Now, he played well. He had 3 hits in the second game of that series. But the fact that he keeps letting him hit in the ninth inning against dominant righties makes no sense whatsoever. I think inside sources have told me, Roman. Are you ready for a little inside Reds knowledge?
Always.
Tito obviously loves Espinal. The other guys that he really loves on this team, he loves Nick Martinez. He's like I'll do anything, and he loves Tyler Stevenson. I think there are guys on the team that he doesn't like. I will not name names. But he loves those 3 guys, without question. They need to win 5 of 7 this week. There's no question about it. Text says, Mike, golf with Roman sounds like a horrible experience. I don't think I have that kind of patience in me. But props to Roman for counting all of your strokes, though. I'm proud of you. You could have easily just picked it up and been like, just give me an 8. You didn't do that.
No, I wanted to know.
I'm proud of you for that.
Can't improve if you don't know, Mike. Well, you can still get better, but I want to know. I want to be precise in my improvements.
You guys did pick it up a little bit. The first couple of holes, I was like, all right, it's not going well, and they're also playing like there's an old adage like if you're gonna be bad fast. Like just you guys were taking a little bit of time. And I was like, this is gonna be a long 9, and then you picked it up. Both of you got the shots were better, and the pace of play improved a little bit.
Yeah, so, got to knock the rust off. It's not very experienced.
Yeah, we're here to learn. We're here to learn. You also asked at one point if there was a par 1 type hole. And I was like, well, it'd be terrible to not have any chance to make a birdie. It'd have to be like you start off like with a 5-foot putt. That could be a par 1. But my answer was like, no, there are no par 1s. Texture says, hey, Mike, and then I can't see the rest. It's not loading. This is horrible. Do you have any that have okay, here, I'm just going to go to the next one. I don't know. Every other message will load, but when I click on the very next one, it just refuses to load.
Yeah, mine does the same thing.
I've got a source that is involved with that Team USA under-19 team, not a coach, but part of that program. He's not a Louisville fan, so he had no advantage to tell me this. He said Brown was humble, competitive, driven, and easy to work with. He said Jasper Johnson was pouting the whole time about minutes and not starting and questioning why he even joined the team. You love to hear it. I do love to hear that.
That's what we like to hear, Mike.
I have no idea if that's an actual inside scoop, but
if it is real,
the text line more times than not delivers. And
you could just tell Jasper seemed like the kind of guy who'd be complaining about that kind of thing.
I did love that, like, Roush tweeted out about, like, you know, the main concern about this Kentucky basketball team is the lack of outside shooting. Jasper Johnson shot 43% in this tournament. He's got his covered. I'm like, what was he, like 3 of 7? Like, he barely played. Didn't play a ton. I can't speak to the Jasper Johnson. I know nothing about his character, his attitude. The stuff about Michael doesn't surprise me. Just because, and like I said, obviously we're viewing things through rose-colored glasses, but everything that has been said about him by people that have coached with him, that have coached him or worked with him or been on his team, is all the same stuff. Like, he's clearly super talented, but he doesn't approach things with an ego. It seems like the perfect marriage of personality and talent for what Pat Kelsey is trying to build at Louisville. And, I mean, look, if this season goes the way that we all hope it does, like our wildest dreams come true, and Michael is, like, he could be viewed as sort of like that, like one of the most impactful players to come through this program, like the guy that kicked this thing off really. I know we're always going to view last year's team in an extremely fond light, but we want bigger and better moving forward. And if Louisville makes a sizable leap this point forward and we kind of look back and we're like, you know, we started this process of getting a bunch of 5-star kids and getting talent that we could only dream of beforehand, and it's led to this gigantic period of success. Michael could be the guy who kind of got that specific ball rolling.
Yeah.
And it'd be wonderful if he did. Like that would,
I think he will.
I hope you're right. I mean, I think he's got a very strong chance to be that type of player. Says, hey, Mike, no amount of Michael's dad can derail the Kelsey train, but Michael made all those shots and plays. I feel like his dad thinks that he was on the court with Michael like Pippen and Jordan. We'll be back bigger. Yo, Pops, the transfer rules are crazy, but not that crazy. Yeah, I mean, there's some, as long as, like this is the area where I feel like Peyton Siva can be, where his usefulness comes into play. Because he's super good with, I mean, if you've ever talked with Peyton, you can see how great he is with people. And certainly he dealt with that as like a celebrity when he was a player here. He's dealt with it as a professional overseas for a long time. And he's been dealing with it for the last couple of years at U of L. Like, that's one area where, like, if Michael's dad or anybody's dad on this roster, parent on this roster, handler, whatever, becomes kind of an issue, I feel like that's where Peyton can step in and be that positive intermediary.
Yeah.
Where he's playing.
He better be.
Kind of both sides. Yeah. We need somebody. Texter says, am I the only one who anticipates what the big dog is going to say about a new recruit just as much as the new recruit? It sure brings another level of entertainment on. I live for big dog tweets now.
I was telling you, he's adding something that we haven't had. I haven't had as a football fan.
What's that?
Like that, knowing that someone from the inside is going to be saying how they feel about these kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, big dog's not going to keep the feelings close to the vest. He's going to let you know. Dog's going to bark. That's what he's going to do. It's the dog being the dog. Texture says, Mike, is there a Frew update?
I kind of wish we could see him run out on the field before games.
I think he'll be out there.
You think so?
I think he's allowed to be.
No headset on, though, right?
He can't, like, coach during practices. No, he's not going to have a headset on. I also don't want him to have a headset on. I don't need the big dog doing anything like that. I don't want the big dog coaching. I want the big dog talking to our players, keeping them happy.
Run them out on the field.
Yeah, lead the team. I don't give a
and then send them back up, honestly.
Lead the team on the field, sure. Yeah, whatever. I don't see the dog out there barking at calls. I mean, you know the dog, even though he's not like a actual coach on the staff, he's going to be standing right next to Jeff. He's going to be on camera. The dog knows where the camera is. He knows how to make that happen. Texas, is there a Frew update? Is he in town? I've not heard anything since over the weekend. At last check, I know this will do nothing to alleviate any of the fears that are out there. I reached out again. I was like, hey, you told me this is all by the book, nothing to worry about. Is that still the case? They said yes. They did not give me like he's planning on being back in town here, or it's all good, which made me nervous, but we're all naturally nervous, right?
Yeah.
That's who we are right now. What are you going to do? Texas Miller Tile here. Mike, God, come on, text you. I'm going to have to go to the next one. We'll get back to you,
Mike, what are your thoughts on Nico Hulkenberg getting his first podium in
Yes.
39 starts over 15 years?
Oh, I loved
It
it.
was awesome to watch him go from 19th to 3rd. Crazy race.
I loved it. British Grand Prix yesterday. Nico, first podium ever. Guy's been around for forever. I loved it. I also loved Max not getting a podium, which was wonderful. Big day for McLaren. Ran 1-2. My boy Lewis Hamilton, I think he had like 12 straight podiums at Silverstone. Did not get up there, finished 4th. A little disappointed there, but very happy for Nico, Roman. It was a big day for him. He'd raced in, whatever the text said, like a billion races without hitting a podium. Went from 19 to 3rd. Everyone was thrilled for him. Very, very happy. He's driving basically like a Cracker Jack box car. He's still making it happen. It was a great race.
Glad to see him get that podium.
Texter said, I haven't heard you all cover the House settlement at all. What will this mean for U of L athletics? Can we support sports like baseball anymore? We've covered the House settlement, I feel like, a pretty solid amount. I mean, your question's a really pointed one, and it's one that I think is impossible to answer right now. I mean, we'll be able to support baseball moving forward, I think, without question. Baseball turns a mild profit for us, and even if it didn't, I think Louisville's solidified itself enough as a powerhouse in baseball for the program to be supported. I do think there's concern moving forward about some of the lesser sports. I'm not going to name names, but you can go down the list and see what sports are going to be on the chopping block for a lot of programs. I don't think anybody knows. This is the first year for this. No one knows exactly how this is going to work. People can project as much as they can, but until we actually go out there and experience this brave new world, I don't think people know exactly how this is all going to play out. I think people are hoping not to have to cut sports. People are hoping not to have to cut employees. But at the end of the day, getting to that $20.5 million, which is it's not guaranteed. There are a lot of programs out there that aren't going to get $20.5 million to pay their players, but that's going to be priority one for all athletic programs, and they're going to have to figure out exactly how they do it. I think it's probably going to be easier right at the jump because you've got people that are going to be excited about the ability to get involved and to help out. You saw that last year with basketball. I mean, Rick Keeper's like, sure, $1 million. I'll match this. Are people still going to be just as motivated and excited about helping out 5 to 10 years from now when the novelty of this whole thing wears off? Nobody knows. So how do you get creative and find other ways to generate revenue to keep up with the Joneses when you don't have that naturally inherent gigantic check coming from the TV contracts that the Big Ten and the SEC programs do? We just don't know. Texas says we'll take one more. Any word on what the last 3 non-conference opponents will be? I've not heard anything. I think Brooks Holton has put out a bunch of, he's always putting out the FOIA requests and seeing what's new out there. So I assume he'll have that whenever those are out, unless they make some sort of grand announcement. But yeah, we've got 3 opponents that left out there that we don't know about. We know the exhibition games, Kansas and Bucknell. We know 10 of the 13 non-conference opponents. We obviously know the conference opponents and who we're going to play twice. We just don't know. I would assume the last 3 non-con games are going to be all bye games.
I think so.
We
We don't need anything crazy. We've got plenty.
We've got 7 games against really high-quality opponents.
Probably the toughest non-con schedule. One of the toughest.
It's up there. I mean, it's impossible to project, but we're probably going to play at least 5 teams in the non-con that are going to be preseason top 30, top 25, maybe. And then you get Duke twice in conference play. I think SMU will be good, who we also play twice. So, I'll be surprised if it's not a mid-major quality opponent for each of the next 3. But, look, it's Pat Kelsey. Who the hell knows? Maybe we're going to play UCLA in Los Angeles. You just don't know.
Do you think Vengelis made it 53 because he couldn't get 35?
Was he 35 in Greece?
Yeah.
Okay. Probably then. Somebody does point out that 53 was also the number of Artis Gilmore. Props to Artis Gilmore. Dad wrote a book about him. Louisville, Kentucky Colonel legend. Jacksonville Dolphin legend. Love Artis. The Big A, the A train. I'd like to think that that's the case. I think it's probably more what Roman said. I think it's probably more the 35 flipped on its head. Let's take a break. When we come back, Rain Smith did a great interview where he said a number of things about his experience at Louisville that I want to talk about after the break. We'll lead off hour number 3 with that and then get back to the Game Day Men's Health text line. This is the Mike Rutherford Show. We are presented by United Mechanical. We are live here on 1450 and 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. years. But I think, whether they want to admit it or not, it's different here. Football is always going to be like love one at Wisconsin, and basketball is going to be too. And they're a very good fan base. But this is in all of our DNA. Like, this is in all of our blood. It's just different.
Yeah.
And I think you can't fully explain that to somebody unless they experience. And Chucky came here and experienced it. Now, Terrence Edwards, it was easier, I think, for him to kind of feel the difference here, making the jump from James Madison to Louisville. But, I mean, you've seen him and his dad talk about how best decision we ever made, like coming here and being a part of this program. And I think all of those guys from last year's team, with maybe one exception, I think Abubakar Traore kind of wished that he was playing a larger role in the success that he had. But like Frank Anselmibe he's tweeting about Louisville as like during the whole baseball runs. Like, he's like, I didn't realize we were this good at baseball. Like, everybody just felt the difference in this fan base, this program, this city when things are going the way that they were last winter. And it clearly made a gigantic impact on all of them. Rain also tells the story about, he was recruited to Charleston when he was living in Tanzania. or not Tanzania, that would have been a hell of a recruiting story. Tasmania in Australia, still 10,000 miles away from Charleston. And he said, this is the story that I always tell about PK and my recruiting. He said early on in the recruiting process that if I ever came to play for him, committed to play for him, he would immediately do a flip into his pool. About a month and a half later, I told him I was committing, and he knew exactly what to do. He gave his phone to his son, Johnny, and then did a flip into the pool while he was fully clothed. I was like, oh, man, what am I getting myself into with this guy? But that was an amazing moment, one that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Doesn't surprise me.
Yep.
It's very, very cool. Kelsey was asked about it. He said, I think I was in traction for about 2 weeks after that. I definitely remember doing it. It was a little bit chilly. I think I froze my butt off, but it was well worth it. I knew this kid was going to be special, and he's one of my favorite players that I've ever coached, and I truly mean that. Now, Rain also talks about more about the revival and about Louisville. And he talks initially about, they had success at Charleston. They went to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. They won multiple conference championships. Things were really good there. And Kelsey gets the job at Louisville. Did you ever think about finishing your career at Charleston? And he said, honestly, it wasn't really much of a decision. That's my coach. There was never any doubt in my mind that I was going to play for him in my final college season. The Louisville fans basically committed for me as soon as PK took the job. And I think coming to Louisville was one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my entire life. As soon as PK got the job, he began selling to all of us who were joining him on this revival thing. The fans, the city, the entire university were counting on us to revive the program. Actually seeing that come into play was really cool, and it's something that I never thought I'd be a part of. Love it. I mean, again, like,
Just remember it for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that team, they're always going to be known as like the revival team, the revivalists, whatever you want to call them. And it still sucks that losing in the first round obviously sucked for everybody. But for Rain specifically, not getting a chance to experience the ACC tournament at all, and then being extremely hobbled in the NCAA tournament, I still think is always going to. But it'd be easy for him to like let that tarnish the entire experience, and he's clearly not doing that. He also talks about the difference in being a superstar basketball player in Louisville as opposed to like in Tasmania or in Charleston. He said it's surreal. I think for me, especially coming from a small town in Tasmania, it's something that you never really picture and never really think is possible. So sometimes I just kind of put it into perspective about how crazy this is. Nowadays, pretty much anytime I go anywhere in Louisville, any restaurant or coffee shop, anywhere I go, fans are going to come up and ask for a picture
up to talk to him
and thank me for everything that I did. To me, I was just out there playing basketball and playing a sport that I love, and I didn't realize how much of an impact I was going to make on the people around here. This is such a special, special place, and I'm glad to call it one of my homes now. I love it.
That's super cool.
Very cool. I mean,
give him a statue.
give them all a statue. Hang their damn names up. Banner up. Put the banner back up. 2024, 2025. Boom. Kelsey also said wherever this guy ends up, whoever takes him, they're going to be one of the best shooters on the planet. He's a real shooter. I had a couple of NBA executives that I talked to said that there's a difference between a shooter and a real shooter. He's a real shooter. When somebody takes a chance on him, they're going to be glad that they did. Rain is a winner, and his record of success is there for anyone to see. If he gets a chance, he'll be able to hold his own in the NBA. I don't think he's he'll get a shot in the G League. I mean, in the Summer League this year. I'd be surprised if he got it, but he will play basketball somewhere for a long period of time and make a ton of money doing so in the process.
It's one of those tough things, Mike, that at his size, if he could just ball handle like Chucky,
yeah,
with that kind of shooting, he's going to find a role in the NBA offensively because he could get past his man on a switch because of his ball handling ability and find the open. He makes the right play. He knows where the open man is. He makes the right read. Now, does he have the size and athleticism to always get the ball where he needs it to be? Well, his ball handling doesn't give him more opportunity to have that, unfortunately. But that kind of shooting, Mike, I feel like he's going to be the kind of guy that's in Summer League the next couple of summers and kind of has a couple instances in the G League and doesn't just have that one try. And, that kind of shooter keeps getting invited back when you can go knock him down like that. So I think it's tough to really determine if he'll touch an NBA court, but I think he'll most definitely probably play on a couple different G League teams.
Yeah. Now, they talk a little bit about his prep for the NBA draft and his prep for Summer League and all this stuff now. But skipping ahead, they end up talking about Louisville moving forward and why they're going to be successful under Pat Kelsey. And Rain Smith says this: PK wants the best for everyone. Players, managers, other coaches. He's such an amazing person, not just a coach, but a person. My 4 years with PK were the best of my life. He brings extreme amounts of energy every day, which can sound threatening at times, but it's everything any college player wants in a coach. Through him, I learned to always show up with energy in everything you do and to do so with a smile on your face, because if you aren't having fun, then you aren't living life to the fullest. Louisville basketball is in great hands with PK. This new team coming in is going to be better than we were, and I know it won't be long until we see this program back in the Final Four and competing for a championship. Like that?
I love that.
Like that a lot.
Going to be better than we were. He's gotten to practice with them already.
I dig that. Kelsey also talks about moving forward. Said life in so many ways is just about timing. I think the timing for the revival to happen was perfect. We had nowhere to go but up when you consider where the program was when we took over. These fans, though, man, it's one of the most passionate and one of the most knowledgeable fan bases in the entire country. The love that this city has for the Louisville Cardinals and Louisville basketball is unrivaled. Just in my first year here, you won't believe the amount of people I meet on the street, and they tell you about the lineage of their Louisville fandom. It is generations of family members passing down tradition after tradition and the love for that name that we wear across our chests. It's in the DNA of the citizens and the city. These fans could have stopped caring at any time, but they didn't. Times were tough, but they knew there was a broader horizon. We made it our mission to change this program, this university, and the city. We reignited the fuse to that energy that seemed to fade away. The revival wasn't about us. It was about the city, these fans. They are the ones who made it possible for me, Rain, and the entire program to find success. Gives you some goosebumps.
It does.
Makes you feel good. I think we are in. He has another quote about being, saying something that he's already said a bunch of times about how, I still walk into that empty arena and I pinch myself and I savor every single day. The standard around here now is to compete for championships and Final Fours, and I'm well aware of that. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Kind of guy you want on your coaching staff one day, Mike.
I mean, it feels there's no way to know the future. We certainly felt like we were headed in the right direction. We were headed back after the first season with Chris Mack and even through most of the second season with Chris Mack, and that wound up falling off a cliff. There are, I think, so many more reasons to believe that we are not going to have a similar fate with Pat Kelsey. I think the job that he did last year through the injuries, it gave us a sense of his ability to handle adversity. Mac didn't deal with that his first year here. Kelsey did.
Yeah.
And he could have easily been like, well, I'm not going to change. We're going to keep playing the same way that I want to play, even though we're missing a million threes and we're without two of our most dynamic players. He morphed in the middle of the year. The staff, they all took on new roles. They all did different things. They asked players to take on different roles. They schemed differently. And we went out there and won 27 games. His ability to connect with players, that's something that's universal. I think that's something that also is going to grow more and more important in this era of basic free agency in college basketball.
I don't mean to interrupt, Mike.
Go ahead.
I was watching this video in the midst of our season, February, late January, February. Some video, college basketball video. They're talking about coaches, and some ex-coach goes into how college basketball coaches have to have the ability to coach players and coach a team. And it was tough for me to really understand what he was saying, but I was kind of getting like, you have to take each player individually and be able to coach them with what you're asking, and then also be able to coach the team as a group. And a lot of coaches can do one thing well or the other thing well, and not a lot of coaches actually do both well. And it seems like Pat Kelsey does a great job at both, with teaching what he wants for these guys to how he wants them to view the group, and how he wants them to view the atmosphere as a whole, but also how he wants them to view themselves as well. And he puts an emphasis on both things, and I think that's important when you're a new coach with such a important job. Like this is a crazy job for a guy who's never had a job like this. So the fact that he's able to kind of showcase both of those abilities, I think, going into the point of being able to really get on the same page with players, but also showcase what he expects from a team. He did it flawlessly, Mike.
For sure. I think one thing that you feel really confident with him moving forward in is what he told us last year when we had him on the radio show, where he was like, yeah, like talent acquisition is huge and all of that stuff, and being able to use the portal and keeping guys home and recruiting traditionally. But he said, like, the time period that we're in right now, July until, like, through September, like, that's the secret sauce. That's where you have to make sure that everybody is on the same page. That's where you have to make sure that the unit is tightly knit and that everyone's swimming in the same direction. Because I think you'll see coaches out there who are just like, you know, we got the guys and then we got the team, and everyone can kind of go their own way. Like, those are the ones that that are going to underachieve in this new era, where there's no sense of unity, there's no sense of team. Kelsey, I think, is going to be able to take all these different parts, because this isn't going anywhere with the portal and all this stuff. And I think he's going to consistently be able to create something that's tight. I think that power of the unit message is going to resonate with every group of players that he coaches, because he leads by example. Like Rain said in that story, that energy, like, you may think that it's a little bit threatening. Players need that. Like, players want that. They need somebody who cares that deeply in all aspects of what they're doing. And I think knowing that you've got a guy who's going to fill that role for you moving forward, it's so refreshing and it's so comforting. Because I think, you feel like we should be able to get the talent. We've got the money. We've got the NIL. We've got the, right now it seems like we've got the brand recognition back, which is a huge deal. And if you've got the guy who can put all those pieces together and get them all to put team ahead of self, that's the biggest thing, I think, in this new era. And, can he handle the pressure of a regional final, tie game, minute left? We don't know that yet. Hopefully we find out pretty soon, and he gets that experience and we can move on. But, sometimes, Todd Golden never won an NCAA tournament game before last year. Just won a national title. I think sometimes this part is more important than all of those moments in March. Like, this is where you have to make those moments in March possible. And I think he does really well when it comes to that sort of thing. And you can see it with the way that his players talk about him.
Todd Gurley can do it. Pat Kelsey can do it.
Damn right. Couple of quick things here. Our boy Rashawn Myers, Wake Up 502 every Saturday morning right here on 1450 96.1 The Big X. He pointed out two things on the roster that just got released that stood out to him. One, and I didn't, I just we were looking at the numbers. We were going through it real quickly. Kenai Roos, Roman, last year was listed at 6'8", 205. He's currently listed at 6'10", 210. Did Kenai grow 2 inches over the last 6 months?
I would have believed this.
I'm believing it.
If I wouldn't have saw a 2-inch increase in Ali Khalifa as well.
Oh, Ali Khalifa also is.
Went from 6'11" to 7 foot, Mike.
Well, that's 1 inch.
Yeah.
Kenai,
did Ali grow an inch?
It's hard to imagine that. He's like 27 years old. I need Kenai standing next to Case and Pryor really soon, just to see if they're the same height now. If Kenai's 6'10", that's not a small increase from 6'8".
I thought Ali was at 6'10" last year. I didn't realize he was 6'11" last year.
According to Rashawn, Ollie Cleveland last year was listed at 6'11", 275. He's now listed at 7 foot, 250. So he's gained an inch, but he's lost 25 pounds.
If Kanai actually added an inch or so and is getting bigger, on top of improving that confidence and that, I don't even nothing about Kanai's skill set made me feel like he couldn't do anything. Like he was unable to go out there and produce. It was the fact that the decision making, he didn't try to go do it.
By the way, Michael Brown also was listed at 6'5". He was 6'2" when he committed here, 6'4" in the USA team. He's gained an inch since then. Javon Hadley, 6'6" last year, 6'7" now.
I love it.
I mean, we're adding inches to
Mr. Foy is doing insane things in that weight room, Mike.
Poor Cole Sherman's still just 5'11". Can we not just bump Cole up to 6 foot? Come on. We got to go to break. 5 o'clock hour is up next. Keep it locked right here. Rutherford Show, United Mechanical, 1450 The Big X. There's a lot of talk that another four-star football player could be about to pledge his allegiance to Jeff Brom and the U of L Cardinals. Jaden McGregory has drawn a number of crystal ball predictions for Louisville, and he is set to announce his college choice at 5:30 Central Time. So that means that we will not get it on this show. But you will be able to hear the commitment live on Mondays with Dalton Pence, coming up at 6:30 here on the East Coast. McGregory is a four-star athlete from the 2026 class out of Des Moines, Iowa. Love the Des Moines to Louisville pipeline that's apparently going to be set up here. A lot of people thought he was going to pick Missouri. It sounds like we're in a good spot there. Had scholarship offers from Florida State, Arkansas, Illinois, Tennessee, Wisconsin, number of big-time programs, Iowa, obviously. But visited Louisville back at the end of last month. Apparently liked what we had to offer, and it sounds like we're in maybe a good spot. So 6:30, you'll hear his official commitment, and hopefully it'll be a cause for celebration during the Dalton Pence, Roman Kelly show coming up here. All right, Game Day Men's Health text line is 502-414-1450. We were talking about the Rain Smith story from Clutch Points there in the last segment. Went a little long there, so we didn't have a chance to get to any of the texts. Want to make sure that we rectify that because we have about 23 minutes here before we get we'll do Big XP bets today, right?
Yep.
How did our Big XP bets do on Wednesday? Do we remember?
1-1. Yep. We had the Mariners money line and we took the Dodgers run line.
So we're still up for July, right?
Yeah, 3-2.
Okay. So if you've listened to Roman in July and June, you're making money. Let's keep it rolling today. Texter says, whose side are you on in the Dave Chappelle versus DJ Khaled feud? I had no idea there was a Dave Chappelle DJ Khaled feud.
I didn't think it was a real feud, but I did see that there was something of note happening between the two.
Do you have any idea of the details here?
No. It's just in scrolling through the group chat in a time frame where I wasn't a part of the conversation, I saw something be mentioned about it.
Oh, Dave Chappelle is slamming DJ Khaled for remaining silent.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
On the Gaza situation, despite, I guess, DJ Khaled has
being
Palestinian roots.
Yeah.
The exact quote was, as a Palestinian, how could you be so quiet right now? And why are you so fat? People are starving. He's the only fat Palestinian on earth right now. I don't want to laugh, but
that's just really aggressive.
It is it's very aggressive.
I'm sure he has his. There's probably reasons as to why he hasn't publicly gone and said anything about that. If he is Palestinian, I'm sure he does his own things in private about that. Yeah, that's Dave Chappelle for you.
What a loaded question to start the 5 o'clock hour there. Texas, do you think that carrying 16 players in the basketball team causes an issue? I thought the House settlement got rid of walk-ons and set roster limits, but who knows anymore? For something that went into effect July 1st, there still doesn't seem like anything is defined. So I think you can have more than 15 players, but like the walk-ons won't technically be anyone plus 15 is going to be like the old walk-on status. I don't know who that's going to be on this year's team. Maybe it's Will Hankey, maybe it's the Despian kid, but you kind of have like the old walk-on status. I think everybody else gets their room and board paid for, all that good stuff. Like those are the old the new walk-ons are the old scholarship players. The new scholarship players are basically professionals. That's the way that it works, right? But I think you can technically have like 18 players on a team. They just, plus 15, you lose any of the new benefits that come right now. That's my understanding, at least. Texas says, this little dumper. Weird question of the day. Mike, if you have to cut off one of Roman's fingers and toes each year for the next 20 years, what order are you cutting them off? Roman vice versa. If you refuse to answer, Louisville will lose every basketball and football game until the end of time. R.I.P. Tupac. That's the guy formerly known as Little Dumper. I forgot Little Dumper was doing this. Until we change his name, he's going to ask us a weird question to try to derail us. You start with the pinkies, obviously. Save the thumbs for last. And save the big toes for last. Because you can still do stuff with as long as you have a thumb.
Yeah. Big toe, keep your balance.
Yeah. It's very straightforward, Dumper. Little Dumper. What else did you text in? You texted in, I love that UK fans are excited about this new quarterback that they got, and he's good, but there's zero chance that Stoops is there to coach him, so he ain't coming. It was Ponatowski is his name. They got the kid. Now, he's only I think it's on 3, of course it is, that has him ranked like super high. And everybody else has him as like a 3-star and like not near a top 10 quarterback. But the big thing for him is it sounds like he's better at baseball than he is at football. Like he's ranked as like the 16th overall best baseball player. He throws like 97, 98, hit like 520 last year, whatever it is. So if he's this good at football, I'm kind of hoping that he gets drafted early in the MLB draft and doesn't end up playing college sports anywhere.
Yeah.
We'll see. And like the
I
Texans
feel
said,
like most kids do that.
I mean, he's not. Even if Mark Stoops doesn't get fired after this year, you would assume that he's not going to come in and start as a true freshman quarterback in the SEC. So he probably never plays for, because Stoops isn't last in 2 years. He probably never plays for Mark Stoops. No. Also, former Jeff Goodman tweet: former Florida State coach Leonard Hamilton's motion to dismiss was denied at a hearing today, and will now be set for a trial next year. Judge found enough factual evidence existed related to promises to pay NIL to FSU players. Ooh. My dad. Puffing that chest out a little bit more today. My dad hates Leonard Hamilton. Legal troubles for Leonard after his career is over. It's my dad's dream. All right, Texas said, I was under the impression that we were limited to 15 rosters. We ended up kind of talking about this just a second ago. Texas said, I love how Roman backpedaled when he said that the thief was a tweaker. Were you more concerned about offending tweakers or about offending thieves?
I just don't want people to think that I'm putting assumptions on people because of their actions and what they may be.
Could have been a Harvard grad that stole those shoes. You don't know. Not a twonker.
Could have been someone struggling. It needed some shoes.
They needed some shoes. You would have given them to him. Texas says the roster shows 35 players, coaches, and support staff. Time to officially graduate to 35 strong, maybe 36 because Johnny Kelsey should be included. Actually, 38 because Mike and Roman should be there also. I like that. 38 strong. Let's do it.
I can be a part of it.
Yeah. Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville, said, wonderful choice for homework. I actually went to that game. Freezing rain and amazing memories. Hostile environment. So excited to dive back in. Yeah, again, if you were listening earlier, homework assignment for this week. On Thursday, we're going to be rewinding and talking about the 2013 Louisville football game at Cincinnati, Teddy Bridgewater and company, wrapping up the regular season on a high note.
You want to meet at Mike's house Wednesday night. We can all watch it there.
Put it on the TV, drink a little bit, have some fun, share some laughs, have a good time. Texas Isaac Brown is a cheat code in the football game. Unfortunately, Miller Moss's cheeks. What young quarterback should I try to get from the portal to pair with Deuce Adams? I don't like that Miller Moss isn't good in the game. I thought he was like an 88.
He's probably just not very fast.
Did you see the UK punter? Did you see this over the weekend? The UK punter is given I think a toughness rating of 0, and he's the only player in the game that has that rating. I have no idea how that was decided, but it seems very mean and very, very pointed.
I would take that personal.
Yeah, that would be rough. Texas says, what happened to Tavian Nicholson? He was only a junior last year, and I don't remember him announcing that he was transferring, but he's not listed on the football roster on U of L's website. I think he's in Brown's minicamp, or he was in Brown's minicamp. He signed an undrafted free agent contract with them, so he's gone. He went pro. I don't know if he actually had eligibility left or not, but he is in the NFL or trying to make an NFL roster spot. Texas said the Cincinnati game is a good choice, especially if it's the one with Teddy doing the UC cheer. It is, with the fans who are heckling him. And a not the most exciting game, but the 2012 Rutgers game when Teddy plays with basically one working arm and leg was phenomenal in its own right. I think we did that one like 3 years ago. So, yeah, the game, if you go to YouTube and you find the game, and they give you like a little preview if you just like hover the mouse over it.
Yeah.
It shows the Roman. I don't know if you've ever seen this GIF. Like you see all their fans have this annoying cheer where they're like, UC, and they do this, and Teddy like has his back to them. He's stretching, and he's doing it in perfect rhythm with them. They're trying to like get in his head, like kind of heckling him, and he does the full on cheer like right there with them perfectly. It's one of the coolest moments of all time. Like they showed it as the game was kicking off, and I was like, I couldn't love this guy more. I still couldn't love this guy more. Texas says Siva can for sure help Mike. It's not like Siva's dad was a quiet librarian in town. Siva's dad, I mean, he was out and about, but he wasn't like tweeting bad stuff or like heckling the coaches or anything like that, for sure. Texas says Roman a 10-yard chip is the same as a 300-yard drive. Go live in the short game area at the range, and the strokes will melt off your score. Short game is you drive for show, putt for dough. That's what they say.
Yeah.
having a good short game was what, like, my friends were all like, I don't know how, like, you scored the same as me, or like, what? I'm like, well, because I chipped and putted way better than you. That was how I got good at golf, okay at golf growing up. Texas, also no shame in playing from the forward tees until you break 100. Consider it the prerequisite to graduating to the next level tees, then repeat. We played whites at Crescent Hill.
The Reds, that's too far up.
Well, the Reds, those are
I'm probably better off on those, but
there were gold tees that I think are like the junior tees, and then the red tees are for the women. But we played whites. I always say the same thing.
like half of the whites were also orange.
They were
or
blue
whatever it was.
right there. Yeah. You're like, where do you want to play? I was like, if we start making too many birdies, having too much fun, we can always move back. It's the way that it goes. Texas, Mike, what are your thoughts on McLaren not celebrating with Hulk on the podium at all? I already didn't like Lando, but the whole team lost a lot of likability across the sport with that move.
I saw a lot about that.
Yeah, good guy Max was one of the first to congratulate Hulk. Max is not a good guy, but I've lost a lot of respect from Lando the last couple of years. Lando has gotten a little too big for his britches. I enjoyed Lando when he was coming up. He had that baby innocent quality. He's lost it. I don't like it at all. Texas Mike, give me your take on this year's Tour de France.
Oof. I haven't watched one.
I've got nothing.
Stage.
I could not name one competitor in the Tour de France. Could you?
No, but
is there a good American?
I did hear that Lance Armstrong said that there's somebody in the field right now who's probably like they're on GOAT watch. There's somebody like,
well, if Lance Armstrong says it,
he's saying that there's this kid who's going to potentially win the most. He could go on path to be on path to winning the most ever. So I forget his name already.
Tim Merlier.
I feel like
he won stage 3. Crash marred day. The sprint favorite Jasper Philipsen's out of the race. He crashed. This has been your Tour de France update on the Mike Rutherford show. That's all I've got. Texas Mike, to continue the soccer talk, I was in Munich in 2012. I watched Bayern versus Chelsea in the Champions League final from a beer hall in Munich. It was an experience. That's awesome. Props to you. Did you? We have not talked about the Gold Cup last night.
Disappointing.
I mean, disappointing.
Result.
Heartbreaking.
Also, we're playing our B squad against most of their A's, right?
In the final, though?
I mean, I wanted to win. I'm just saying, like, it was not a.
I get the whole, like, majority of the roster isn't all of the A guys even there, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, we had maybe 3 guys on this year's team on the Gold Cup squad that are going to make the World Cup roster, maybe 4.
Yeah.
So anybody who's taking this, I mean, I jokingly after we beat Costa Rica in PKs was like, we're going to win the World Cup. But anybody who's making any sort of sweeping take on our World Cup chances off of anything that happened in this, I think is being misled. And Mexico had almost all of their A squad for this tournament. So it wasn't shot but they kind of dominated us. Like they controlled possession. They had most of the chances. It was not a shock to see us lose, but it sucks because it's the big rivalry and I wanted to win the Gold Cup. But I still feel like this has no real bearing on.
It doesn't.
How
It
we're gonna
doesn't.
do
I
the
just
World
feel like,
Cup.
a couple of guys out there who should have put in a better outing last night.
Talking about Barston. Barston's my I told you, it's my whipping boy. I'm not a Barston guy. Get him out of my face.
I feel like he could have been a little bit better. I feel like Tyler Adams looked like he was a little slow-footed out there.
We looked Houston Heat and playing defense for 55 straight minutes. Our guys were
They were done. They were cooked
dead.
by halftime. So that's part of it. But the World Cup's not going to be much better.
Also, the pitch sucked. I feel like we're going to blow this World Cup. I feel like the World Cup's going to be a disaster here. We've had 2 tournaments here in the last 2 years. They've both been disasters.
U.S. men's national team shouldn't have any issues playing on bad pitches, though.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying the World Cup overall, not our performance. I think we're going to blow this. I don't think we're good at this, but we'll find out. But I was very upset. The late goal just kind of. I was just hoping for more PKs.
It was an energy thing too. I mean, they just going after every 50-50 ball, every direct free kick, everything that they were just attacking anything in the air sooner and more efficiently than us at the end of that game.
Totally controlled. I like Richards. I think he should make the team. Maybe start.
What about Freese?
I mean, he's like our 3rd choice, right?
Yeah.
Played well. I mean, he was a pleasant surprise. I still don't think that he's a World Cup caliber keeper. I like Richards. Luna played well.
Luna did play well.
Barston, get out of my face forever. I think Malik Tillman should make the team.
Yep. Agiyemi, it's weird, Mike. He does the things you want him to do off the ball, but when he gets the ball and he gets the ball to his foot,
yeah,
the product's not good enough.
No,
so
I agreed. And also, anybody with the last name Bearhalter just needs to go. Just needs to go. He wasn't good yesterday. Texas says, did you see that UK Athletics became a LLC called Champions Blue LLC? We knew they were doing it. I didn't know that was the name. Whatever. Texas, I keep seeing these posts about our players getting taller. Are these just to help out the player profiles? I love the guy, but there is no way Ali Khalifa is still growing. He's listed at 7 foot. Yeah, so officially I went back and looked. Michael Brown is listed at 6'5". He was just 6'4" on the Team USA roster. Incredible 1-inch growth spurt in the last 24 hours, basically. Kanai Roos is 2 inches taller than he was last year. He's 6'10" now. Ali Khalifa is an inch taller than he was last year. Javon Hadley's gone from 6'6" to 6'7". I love these 24-year-olds hitting their last growth spurt.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Eli Foy is doing the Lord's work.
So measure them with shoes. Let them lift their head up a little bit.
This is what happens when you stretch properly. You keep growing. Texter says, you said there was only one guy who didn't feel the difference. I thought you were going with James Scott. No, James was all in. James was all in. He just got offered
He was bag chasing.
And not even that. Like he got offered way more than I think anybody, including James, thought he could ever get paid to play. I mean, so the conversation that, I don't know if I've said this. My understanding of what happened with, they had a deal in place with James, which does suck that they had to go up. There were no hard feelings on Pat Kelsey's end, is what I was told. So, as was widely rumored, Will Wade and NC State came in and they were like, hey, we can give you way more than what we think you're going to get. And that kind of piqued his interest. And then when that news started to get out there, that's when Chris Beard came in and offered way more. I mean, James is safely in the 7 figures for next year to play basketball. And when he told Pat Kelsey, like, hey, just so you know, like, this is what I've been offered, Kelsey's response was, go down there right now before they change their mind. Like you cannot pass this up. Obviously, we'd love to have you, but we can't. We're not going to pay you that much. So I don't feel like James's heart was absolutely in it last year. I think the one guy down the stretch who was a little bit disillusioned with things was Traore. And that's, you kind of understand. Like, he started the season as a starter. He thought he'd worked his ass off. He played his way into a chance to be a key guy on this team. And by the end of the year, he was basically like your third center. And he was playing a role that he didn't really, he still was playing hard and doing all he could. But I do think that he was a little bit, he was not as L1C4 as maybe everybody else on the team. Texted Mike, I'm texting you from Tanzania right now. Tanzania or Tasmania? One of the two. Texas, with these inches gained, Duke won't be able to block out the sun or push us around with their height this season like they did last year. It's a huge deal for our Duke games, is getting these extra inches on our guys. Texas said Ali and Kanai transfer to LSU and get the James Scott boost. Maybe. Oh, yeah, I forgot that they gave James Scott. They were like, he's 7'1". I was like, no, he's not. Texter says, Chris the Plumber spent July 4th weekend in New Orleans at Essence Fest. Stop. Leave Chris alone. He's been nothing but positive today. Texter said, did I mishear adding inches, you say? I'm here for it. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. They can help you. Growing. In height. Texas Mike, I completely disagree about not making big conclusions about the Gold Cup. Coach's game management and substitution patterns are a huge red flag. It also pisses me off that he started to call out the fans after the Guatemala game. The dude is an overrated bum. He couldn't win any trophies until he had a front line of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe at PSG. Roman, your thoughts here. You're a better soccer guy than I am.
The substitutions have definitely been extremely weird. Part of it, I think, is trying to get guys to work in. Like, he's trying to, he's experimenting, I guess you'd almost call it, which you shouldn't be doing in a Gold Cup the year before the World Cup. I also think that I'm not making excuses. The things he said about the Guatemala stuff, that's just not, it's unnecessary, but I also think that's him kind of learning on the fly, like what's normal and what's not going to be normal as the head coach for the U.S. men's national team. The thing is, though, those things, his game management stuff, those were issues before he got here. So when they're at the most serious it can be kind of a stage, I'm going to see what happens, because I think this roster's the 15 best guys that can wear this jersey. You shouldn't have much controversy over those. So there shouldn't be a lot of issues with game management when you get to the point of playing with your full best 11. Because there's not a lot of guys better than them. Like, you shouldn't have many options. There's not a lot of different options to go to. We've now seen with who are going to be the second unit guys. You know who's better. So Hopefully, it should be easier for him to manage these games going forward when he does have the full 11 guys. But the stuff with the fans, that's gonna have to stop.
Matthew, are you pro poach or anti poach right now?
Well, I'm kind of biased because I'm a Tottenham Hotspur fan, so I'm always pro poach.
There he is. Am I allowed to call him Poch? Because it's Pochettino. Can I call him Poch?
I call him Poch.
Okay, because I was big on the Poch out. I was very much anti-Poch going into this thing, and I'm hesitant.
I still think it's like great for U.S. soccer to have somebody of that like caliber.
I was very excited when we hired him. It was our choice.
I think we're gonna have to wait until like you said, our A roster comes back to see what he can really do with them.
This is the thing that bums me out about international soccer is I feel like no one's ever playing their best players. Like we played Argentina in the Gold Cup like 4 years ago. They're like, it's the first time we've played a quality with like best on best in like 18 years. Like no one's ever like, even when you win, like we'll beat Mexico in the Gold Cup. It's like, well, Mexico's playing its D team. I'm like, do we ever get the best players playing in the same tournament besides the World Cup? And even then, sometimes people are like, oh, he's not good. He's not going all out for the World Cup.
U.S. definitely doesn't get that.
I know. It's just it's annoying. It's obnoxious. Yeah. Texture says, thanks to Game Day Men's Health, we're all gaining inches. That's what I'm saying. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Texture says, but Kanai may have grown 2 inches, but so do I when I look at our roster. It's a great. If we had text of the day, we would give you a coupon to a restaurant that no longer exists. Texas adding inches is the team partner with Game Day Men's Health as well. Like great pub for Game Day Men's Health today. Texas, do you think that we're going to hire a big dog equivalent for basketball soon?
No.
I don't know.
Doesn't really coincide with the 25-strong mindset.
No, I mean, I've heard rumors that we are looking at potentially bringing in a general manager, but soon, I don't know.
Make it Donovan Mitchell.
He would have to be like like one of those, like where it's like general manager just in name only, right? Like you've got him on, like, because what program's doing it? They have got like an NBA player doing it.
Steph.
Is it Steph Curry for Davidson?
Davidson's doing it.
And like,
there's one more I thought. Trae Young.
Trae Young's the one that I'm thinking of. Like, how much is Trae Young going to be really involved in the day-to-day? Like, hey, I broke down film of Fairleigh Dickinson today. This guy could be a great fit. Like, no, you're playing NBA basketball.
Doesn't know who they're recruiting.
Exactly. Texas Jasper's happy that there's a Tottenham Hotspurs fan at Big X. There you go. Producer Matt's your guy.
Hey, I mean, we're slim and few, but Saints Pizza and Pub is the place to go.
I feel like I know a million Tottenham fans. Like Tottenham and Liverpool, I feel like hear about more fans here locally than anybody.
There's a good amount of Liverpool fans locally.
Liverpool, I feel like I hear a ton. Texas, from what I'm being told, the basketball GM is Jay-Z's second cousin twice removed. We've already gone down that road. Remember when like the son of the manager of Jay-Z's sports company was going to like revitalize. And I met the guy at the Jack Harlow's kickball thing. And I was like, yeah, it's like he's a very nice guy. I was like, but you're like 16 years old. I don't think he had any idea what was going on. Like we had no idea. The things that were happening after Kenny Payne got the job made absolutely no sense at the time. They make even less sense in hindsight. It was just a complete catastrophe. Roman, give me some big X big bets for tonight.
All right, Mike. We've got 2 plays for tonight. We've got a little bit of a bonus play here. First play for tonight that we're on is the no runs first inning. Dodgers, Brewers in Milwaukee at 7:40 tonight. We've got the Nerfy. We've got Yamamoto on the mound. Yoshinibu? Can you say it? Yoshinobu Yamamoto going up against Freddie Peralta. I like the Nerfy here. It is -130. Whenever you see the odds on the Nerfy kind of go up a little bit from further away from even, you can kind of tell that there's a good chance that at least the books are agreeing with the Nerfy being likely here. We're on the Nerfy. I don't mind -130 at all. We're also on the Rangers money line, Mike. Jason DeGrom back on the mound. We're going to continue to see if he can stay on this little bit of a win streak he's on. So
love Jason DeGrom.
We're on the Rangers money line. Those are the 2 plays. I do have a bit of a bonus play. Now, this isn't an official. Normally, the bonus plays typically official, but I'm on the under on the D-backs and Padres as well, 8.5. Darvish going up against Zach Allen. So
we got Dalton Pence coming in for 90 more minutes of U of L Sports Talk. Keep it locked right here for Mondays with Dalton Pence. I'm back tomorrow at 2:30. Talk to you then. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
Partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration needs. Call United Mechanical at 5